Haley Chapman is suing her husband's ex-girlfriend, Fallon Bigelow, for defamation, harassment, and emotional distress.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3022, Chapman versus Bigelow.
Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
The husband isn't here.
No.
Where is he?
He is currently incarcerated, Your Honor,
Where?
in a state correctional institution in Florida.
When did he go into jail?
He was arrested in September of 2022.
Has he been incarcerated since?
Yes, ma'am.
You have 3 children with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
20.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are your children?
I actually have 4 in total. I have a 5-year-old who turns 6 in December. I have a 3-year-old who turns 4 in August, a 2-year-old who turns 3 in August, and a newborn, 2 weeks old, ma'am.
Who do you live with?
I live by myself.
The only connection that you have with the plaintiff is that you have 1 child with her husband,
Yes,
who is how old?
He's about to be 5 in the end of July.
Now, this is your complaint. Many of these things at least start in 2022. And it is your claim that Miss Bigelow, who has 1 child with your husband, embarked on a course of conduct that can clearly be described as harassment, defamation, which you're going to present to me, and the allegations were serious enough, and this is back in 2022, I would assume, that you filed an application for a protective order.
It was in 2021 that I had filed the protective order.
What month?
It was, I believe, March.
Did you have a trial on that protective order?
There was no trial. There was enough evidence presented.
No. There was no trial.
No, ma'am.
Were you present when the protective order was granted?
Yes, ma'am.
And you consented to it?
Yes.
Okay. So you consented to the plaintiff having a protective order indicating that for 12 months, and hopefully for the rest of your life, you would not assault, menace, threaten, or harass her.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And according to what I've read, that was in effect until March of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
While the protective order was in effect, there was a violation of that protective order.
Correct, Your Honor.
What month?
It was in the month of March 15th,
Of 2022 or 2021?
2021, Your Honor.
Was there a hearing on the violation of the protective order?
Yes, there was, and I believe at that time, probation temporarily was given to Miss Bigelow.
Is that correct, Ms. Bigelow?
Yes, ma'am. Administrative probation.
And all of the events that are the subject of your petition happened between 2021 and 2022.
This has actually been going on far longer than that, and
Have any of the acts that Ms. Bigelow were prevented from doing as a result of the protective order occurred after the protective order expired in March of 2022?
Yes, ma'am, I can provide evidence.
That's what I want to see. So now we have Ms. Bigelow, who is on notice. She consented to a protective order because she knew that the evidence would be clear that you were entitled to it. Otherwise, nobody consents to it. So she consented to that order, which means you either assaulted, menaced, threatened, or harassed her. I assume it was a course of harassment. Then you violated that order and you got a period of probation. Okay. Now I'm hearing evidence of acts that occurred after the protective order. I'm just hearing it. After the protective order expired in March of 2022.
Yes.
Correct? You want to tell me when the first incident was?
The first incident was when we had me and my husband on TikTok. There's an algorithm that shows random videos, and she popped up on his For You page, and it was a post about her mother. And so she was living with her mother at the time, and he sent it to her mother.
Your husband did?
Yes.
I only want to know things that had to do with you.
Okay. So I was arrested after my husband got arrested. They tried to charge me.
Just a second. You were arrested in what month?
It was in October, ma'am.
Of what year?
2022.
You were arrested for what?
They tried to claim that I was trafficking drugs.
That's what your husband is in jail for?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what did that have to do with her?
It doesn't.
Well, then it doesn't.
Well,
It doesn't.
She had made posts about me going to jail.
Can I see them?
Yes, ma'am.
This doesn't say anything that is defamatory. I want to know what you meant is she's already lost custody of her children enough times. I'm hoping one day I might be able to gain custody of my son's 2 daughters. What is that?
Okay, so Haley Chapman claimed that she had no understanding of the drugs being in the home when she was
No.
found guilty.
What is my son's 2 daughters? Do you mean your boyfriend's?
No, her children. She's religiously lost custody of her children.
No.
multiple times
What
throughout the year.
I understand that. I don't understand this sentence. You wrote, she has already lost custody of her children enough times. I am hoping one day I might be able to gain custody of my son's 2 daughters.
Oh, sorry, not daughters, but sisters. I apologize.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Your Honor,
Just
I
a second. So far, it's not defamatory.
I have my order for reunification. I've only lost my children 1 time.
Doesn't matter. Put a look at it. So far, I don't see anything defamatory. If she wrote that you were arrested and you were arrested, that's not defamatory.
I did suffer anxiety
What?
and depression because of this whole situation.
No, you suffer from anxiety, depression if you do, because you were 15 years old when you had a baby, and then you had 4 more children, you're 20 years old, and your husband's in jail. That would put any normal person in a situation of depression.
Haley Chapman claims her husband's ex-girlfriend, Fallon Bigelow, owes for defamation, harassment, and emotional distress. Fallon is countersuing Haley for emotional distress.
Still bragging about it. There's something wrong with you. You understand that?
Yes.
You understand that this is all coming from a very stupid place, a very stupid brain that you have absolutely nothing to do with except that you were mad at this guy, at this prize that's sitting in jail for drugs. And so, yeah, don't tell me that you were trying to be altruistic. I don't believe it.
No, that's not it. Actually, her husband assaulted me. I was a child and he was an adult for 1.5 years of my childhood. My son is a product of rape.
You don't get me. That has nothing to do with her.
She has shown up at my house.
Just
on
a second.
numerous occasions.
That has...
Okay.
Okay, so she sent a picture of your mugshot, which is also not illegal, and said that you were arrested and charged with trafficking in fentanyl, which you were, right? Which you were. Those charges were subsequently dismissed?
No, ma'am. I was granted pretrial diversion because they didn't have the evidence that they needed to actually...
That's not what I asked you. You were arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
This is your mugshot. And you were arrested for drugs.
Correct.
So she didn't print anything that wasn't true. You were arrested, I'm not saying that what you did was right. I'm saying what you did was stupid, pointless, and just out of nothing but jealousy. Nothing. She certainly doesn't care about your children. Okay. So far, what you showed me, nasty, but not actionable because it's true. What's next?
I have the TikTok that she posted of her claim that she was sexually assaulted by my husband, which backfired on me as well. I had to shut down.
That's what she says. That has nothing to do with you.
Well, an onslaught of people came and harassed me because of her post.
I don't know that at all. And if they harassed you, that's their problem. But I'll take a look at what you want me to look at. But if she accused your husband of a crime, of raping her, and she said it's your bad judgment to be with him, and now I assume you have 4 children with him?
3, Your Honor.
3, and 1 with somebody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Sounds terrific. 20 years old. Sounds like we're going in the right direction here for a joyous life. Oh. What do you do for a living?
Bartender.
How many children do you have?
1.
Who do you live with?
Myself, but I'm currently moving.
Moving where?
South Carolina.
With whom?
My son and I.
Why?
To leave Florida.
Why? Why South Carolina? You just
I want to go to college for underwater welding, and they don't offer that program where I live currently.
Who are you going with?
Just by myself.
Who lives in South Carolina?
Nobody.
Do you have a place to live?
Yes.
Who's paying for it?
Me.
From what?
My job. I've been saving over the last 2 years.
How much money do you have in the bank?
I have $180,000.
Ooh. Okay. All nasty, stupid, it's not actionable. What else?
I have here that she told me to hurt myself and that she was going to expose nude photos of me.
I'd like to see that.
I also have here her saying that she wanted to throw bed bugs in my yard and on me.
This is all stupid stuff, but nasty and stupid and vicious. And I must add, illiterate. So I hope you're going to a very good school wherever you're going. First, they should teach you literacy.
Understand.
What's next?
I did suffer chronic post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and depression because of this whole situation.
No, you suffer from anxiety, depression. If you do, because you were 15 years old when you had a baby, and then you had 4 more children, you're 20 years old, and your husband's in jail. That would put any normal person in a situation of depression.
I do have proof, Your Honor.
You don't have proof.
It's from my psychiatrist.
If your psychiatrist was here and you wish to waive it, I'll be more than happy to listen to your psychiatrist. It's what you told your psychiatrist. I'm telling you, I don't have to be a psychiatrist. Somebody who's 20 years old and has 4 children, all under the age of 5, and whose husband is incarcerated for the last year and a half and has 1 child in between that's not his, that's a reason to be depressed. There's a reason to be depressed. Her nagging you because she's stupid and jealous is nasty, but not anywhere as nasty as your husband getting arrested, going to jail, leaving his 3 children and his wife alone to fend for themselves. And if he was incarcerated for drugs, making them, dealing with them, and you were living together, it's kind of hard for me to imagine that you wouldn't have some suspicion of what he was doing for a living. Do you understand what I mean? That would cause me situational depression. And there is only one way to deal with your situational depression, which is to get your life in order.
Currently, I am a nursing student and I have a year left.
Is it a building that you go to?
Yes, ma'am. I restart in September of this year.
You start or you started last year?
I started and then I took a break and then I go back in September.
When did you take a break?
From August of last year up until September, this upcoming September.
And now you're going back in September?
Yes.
And what have you been doing in between, aside having a baby?
In between then, I've just been working. I have 2 jobs.
Where are your children?
My children are actually with my friend at the hotel.
All 4 of them?
2 of them, Your Honor.
Where are the rest of them?
One is staying with my mother-in-law, and my son is in summer camp.
Which one is with your mother-in-law?
One of my daughters that I have with my husband.
And how old is the child who's in summer camp?
He's 5.
Is he in sleepaway summer camp?
No.
Well, who does he live with?
He lives with me.
Who's taking care of him now?
Right now, his grandpa.
His grandfather?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your father?
It is my son's dad's father.
Oh, God.
I also have the times that she made fictitious DCF calls against me and messages of her admitting that she called DCF on me because I wouldn't fight her.
Because you wouldn't fight her?
Yes.
I would like to actually take a look at those.
Yep.
Haley Chapman has accused her husband's ex-girlfriend, Fallon Bigelow, of defamation and harassment. Fallon claims Haley falsely called child services, causing her emotional distress.
All right, you have anything else you want to show me so far? This is a bunch of nonsense. It's not
Yes,
nonsense,
ma'am.
it's just very unfortunate.
This is her saying that she wanted to fight me.
I don't care about wanting to fight you. You didn't fight with her, right?
No.
And she didn't come to fight you, and she didn't hit you,
No.
right? All right, we're done. Let's see, money owed for emotional distress caused by leaking photos. All right.
Haley Chapman posted child pornography of me via Facebook.
When?
September of 2018. Also, her and her husband were under investigation for extortion of child pornography, threatening that if I did not fight them, they would release the video of him sexually assaulting me while I was pregnant.
I would like to see where she, not he, where she sent you something that you consider harassment.
Okay, she has shown up to my house on...
No, she, listen to me carefully, she sent you an extortion letter. I want to see where she did, not her husband.
The police took the iPod with the original conversation because it involved child pornography.
If I don't have it, I don't have it.
Okay, that's understandable.
Do you have it? The answer is yes or no.
No, not the original conversation.
Ms. Chapman, I told you my best long and short-term advice to you. You are articulate, nice-looking, young, whole life ahead of you. It depends upon where you want to hang your hopes. And if you hang it with somebody who's incarcerated, that's ridiculous. He's not coming out to you anyway. You have a new father for your baby. Do you live with that person? Do you live with that person? Who do you live with?
I live alone.
Oh, God.
I also have the times that she made fictitious DCF calls against me and messages of her admitting that she called DCF on me because I wouldn't fight her.
Because you wouldn't fight her?
Yes.
I would like to actually take a look at those. Not that you're going to get a penny from her. You understand that?
Yep.
You understand why?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. And by the way, you know, I understand that you say that there was an abusive sexual relationship between you and her husband, who is the father of your child.
Yes, ma'am.
You did, in fact, allow him to see the child regularly. Is
No,
that...
ma'am.
No?
No.
You mean he's never seen his
Never.
son?
Actually, no, incorrect. When my son was first born, he was 6 hours late. He came in, he said hello. And other than that, he was not permitted to be around the child.
So he never came to your house and never saw him from the time the child was born until the time he went into jail. Is that correct?
The only time that he did see my son was when she came to my house in June of 2022, when he was parked outside the house and my son had come outside. Other than that, he has not been around my child.
Yeah, well, you're Haley on this, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. She's angry at you, right? She's angry at you because you won't stop. You keep posting stuff about her, about her husband, about the kids, whatever. It's all because...
There were multiple reasons as to why I was upset with her. There were on 3 different occasions when the restraining order was put in place, claiming that I violated when I did not. I was only
Just a second.
Okay.
There was a final order of protection and a finding that you violated that final order of protection, and all this stuff was harassing, nasty, unfortunately not defamatory, but clearly annoying. And she finally said, I've had enough. You have no case. You have no case, and you're just lucky I'm not awarding her any money because nothing that you posted about her was not true. She was, in fact, arrested. I assume that you were, in fact, a minor when you became pregnant and the father of your child was an adult. I assume all those things are true. Listen to me. If you saved $180,000, which is a lot of money to be able to save over a couple of years bartending, which is to your credit, and if what you're going to do is try to start a new life, good for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good for you. Put your time to better use. Leave her alone. She's got enough troubles just negotiating life at age 20 with 4 children. Leave her alone.
Okay, so...
This is not a so. This is a period. The end. Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
I believe that she gave me some really good life advice and was able to hopefully open the defendant's eyes as to the problems that she's been causing.
She threatened me, threatened my friends, made fictitious DCF reports against me.
Things just mellow out and she decides not to
Time to get out of Florida.
defame me or harass me anymore.
That case reminded me of my family court days, Sarah. Here's this guy who was an adult. She was 15 when her first child was born, 14 when she got pregnant. And I don't understand why that guy's not in jail.
For something other than drugs.
For something other than drugs. except she probably...
He married her
not-
and then had
well,
3 more
he-
children.
I'm not sure when he married her, but in between there, in the beginning, he had a child with the defendant. And I think that the plaintiff and defendant sort of knew each other. But there are now 5 children, all with mothers, single mothers, who are unsettled. And there's no question, one's living with a grandparent, one's staying here, one back with a friend in a hotel room. It's just so sad for these children. I don't know how to convince generations of young people that you're not supposed to have children, that you're not emotionally and financially and equipped to take care of. Just do that.
And it makes
there
every
you-
step of her getting her life back on track at 20 as a child herself all the more difficult with 4 kids in tow. So not only, you know, how sad it is for the children, but she's a child herself that should be able to get her life back on track.
It would be wonderful. She, you know, they both seem to be articulate people. Of course, they can't write, but maybe it's just the way they write when they write text.
Twitter fingers, you know.
Yeah, Twitter. But it looks illiterate to me. Maybe I'm just from the wrong generation. That's possible. But it's just sad for those 5 kids.
Amina Thornton is suing her former client, Donnie Alford, for dog registration papers, personal property, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 3032, Thornton versus Alford.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, this case has so many tentacles to it. Let's deal with the simple ones first. Miss Thornton,
Yes, ma'am.
you have a music company.
Somewhat.
Tell me what exactly you do.
I'm a disabled veteran. With my husband, we have a trucking company, and I also breed dogs.
What do you have to do with music?
I had something to do with music.
Because that's how you connected with the defendant.
You know, I initially connected with him. He was dancing. He does exotic dancing, and I went to a show.
So you were a spectator.
Yes.
And
He led me on to that he did massages and he did different things, and he also made it known that he was trying to do music.
was the show at a club or somebody's house?
It was a rented space.
And that's the first time you saw the defendant.
Correct.
Have you seen him again in that same kind of setting as an exotic dancer?
Once after the following year, in 2022, he invited me or asked me to come out and basically help him if he needed something, and he did need help that evening.
In between November of 2021 and what month in 2022?
That was March.
And March of 2022, had you built up a relationship with him?
Yes, ma'am.
And did there come a time between 21 and 22 that you had some sort of a music studio?
Yes.
And that's what I read in the papers. And what was the music studio for?
Artist to record.
Your Honor.
Did you
Okay.
did you rent it?
No, it was in my establishment.
What establishment?
It was an apartment that I rented out. It had 2 bedrooms. One of the rooms was a music studio, and it was for the
Okay,
use
it was
of,
an apartment
Yes.
that you rented.
Yes,
Where?
in Buckhead, Georgia.
When had you rented the apartment?
I rented the apartment in February of 2022.
In whose name?
My name.
Personal,
Yes, ma'am.
not in a company.
No.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what you rented a 2-bedroom apartment for. You were married, you have kids.
Correct.
Were you living with your husband?
Yes, well, we was estranged. We was separate.
Okay, so you were separated. And in what month and year did you and your husband separate?
In, I guess, January.
January of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
It's like pulling teeth. And then you rented the 2-bedroom apartment. Did you ever live in the 2-bedroom apartment yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
So you lived in one of the bedrooms.
Yes, ma'am.
From when to when did you live in one of the bedrooms?
Up until June.
And then where did you go?
Back home.
You went back to your husband.
Yes.
Mr. Alford, did he live in that apartment?
He moved in February. He was homeless.
Just a second. So he moved in February. That's the answer.
Yes.
It's a 2-bedroom apartment. One of the rooms you said was a music studio.
Yes.
Was that one of the bedrooms?
Yes.
Did you and Mr. Alford stay in the same bedroom?
No.
That's a yes or a no. Let's just move on with it. Did you and Mr. Alford, when he moved in February, live in the same bedroom?
No.
Did he stay occasionally in the same bedroom?
Occasional.
Yeah, all right. Did he pay any rent?
Never.
There was never an agreement for him to pay rent.
Yes, it was.
When? You're not suing for any rent.
That's because that's...
That's because that. Okay. Well, you're suing for a lot of other things, but you're not
Exactly.
suing him for rent.
No.
Okay. And he stayed there until when?
He stayed there under my lease.
Shh. Okay, what did he stay there? You moved out of your home
Yes, ma'am.
into this apartment in January of 2022. He moved into the apartment in February 2022. You moved out in June of 2022. I want to know when he moved out.
He moved out, I guess, in November when they gave him the eviction notice. But the lease was transferred into his name. He didn't have good enough credit.
Just a second.
So I transferred the lease into his name.
So you moved out in June and he stayed in the apartment?
Correct.
Okay. So far, is what she generally tells me through my questioning correct?
No.
With regard to the apartment?
No, ma'am.
Well, tell me your version, because this has nothing to do with the case, but has something to do with who I'm dealing with. Did you move into a two-bedroom apartment, the lease of which was in the plaintiff's name?
No. She did help me, however, get the apartment. Her friend was a manager for the apartment complex, so it bypassed all, like, credit checks, all that. That got me
Mr.
directly...
Alford, I want you to pay careful attention to what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
In February of 2022, was Miss Thornton also staying in the apartment?
No.
March 2022, was she staying in the apartment?
No.
Did she ever stay in the apartment?
Never stayed in my apartment.
Until what month and year did you live in the apartment?
I lived in an apartment when she first helped me get it, which was in 2022, and I just moved out. I currently...
Just a second. Just moved out?
Yes.
On what date?
Probably, I think it was like the end of this year. I'm currently still like a leaseholder there. She just texted me and asked me if I wanted to get my stuff out of the apartment.
Who did?
The leasing office.
Are you still there? That's either a yes or a no. Are you still there?
No.
Do you still have any property there?
Yes.
So then you're still there?
Yes.
So then you're still there. If you have property there, you know you're still there. What happened at the eviction hearing? Is what you're saying the lease was in her name and she agreed to pay the rent?
It's in my name, but that's how I was paying the rent.
Can I show you the check?
Just to say, did you file tax returns in 2022?
No, ma'am.
I'm not asking you a question.
Amina Thornton claims her former client, Donnie Alford, assaulted her and refuses to return her dog's registration papers. Donnie is countersuing for the cost of French bulldogs and defamation.
Now, what happened at the eviction hearing?
They're aware of the situation.
Don't tell me what they're aware of. What happened?
Nothing happened. I'm letting them take ownership of the property. I'm giving it back to them.
When?
As soon as this case is over.
Why didn't you give it back to them when they evicted you? Have you been paying rent?
No.
Never.
She stated she pays the rent and I provide the artistry. Like, I do the art. I'm a performer. She pays the rent. That was our agreement. It's in my phone. I got a text message from her phone stating that during 2021 to 2022.
Is what you're saying the lease was in her name and she agreed to pay the rent? Well, then what do you want to show me?
It's in my name, but that's how I was paying the rent. She's giving...
She gave you the money?
Yes, she's giving from working. I'm the artist.
Never. Can I show you the check?
Just to say, did you file tax returns in 2022?
No, ma'am.
I'm not asking you a question. Did you file tax returns?
Yes.
Yes. How much did you earn in 2022?
I never got anything back. My kids...
How much did you earn?
My kids get...
A ballpark figure.
Ballpark, $80,000.
Doing what?
Male entertainment, and then also, you know, the singing and stuff.
And now I'm going to move on because I'm getting really bored with this. I'm going to get first to the dogs. While you were in some sort of a relationship, and I know that you had to be in some sort of a relationship because you say so, right?
Yes.
Some sort of a relationship. And I don't know whether he was the cause of you leaving and moving into this or not. It's not particularly relevant. But one of the things, according to both of you, that you decide to do as a side hustle is breed little Frenchy bulldogs. Is that correct?
Correct.
In what month and year did you decide to do this?
He wanted a dog as a pet.
Just a second. Would you give me the answer?
Yes, ma'am. June of 2022.
At about the time that you were going back to your family to your husband?
Actually, it was April of 2022. I'm sorry.
Okay. And according to you, you purchased 3 French bulldogs.
Yes, that he agreed to care for. Yes.
If you're going to answer my question with some more stuff, that's not going to be helpful to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you purchase them and how much were they?
They were all purchased from individual breeders. The first one was $4,500. The second one was $3,500, and the remaining one was $3,000.
Did you get them within a particular time period? A week, a month?
It got crown, and then like 2 weeks later, got royalty.
And this was starting in April.
I gave the deposit in April. That's why I said it actually started in April. I picked up the dog in June.
And do you have the name of that person?
Yes, I do.
Do you know that person?
I do.
Okay. Mr. Alford, do you know this person? Look at me.
No.
You do not. Are you acknowledging that the first puppy that was bought with a deposit in April?
Yes.
And the deposit was how much?
$500.
And that was to hold the puppy from that litter?
Yes.
And when you picked up the puppy, the remainder of the $4,000 was paid?
Yes.
Let me see proof that it was paid
Yes.
by you.
To go on my phone for Crown because he's not suing for Crown, so I didn't bring Crown's paper.
Is it a fact that you are not requesting the return of this dog, Crown?
No, she paid for him.
Fine. So that's easy. Do you have the paperwork for Crown?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if you have the paperwork for Crown, that paperwork should be signed over to Miss Thornton, correct? Since you're not suing for the dog, you acknowledge that she paid for the dog. Okay. So can I see the paperwork for Crown?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have Crown registered. I don't need that paperwork.
Great. All right. Take that out. Now, the next dog you purchased was
Royalty.
Royalty?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
In June 11th of 2022.
Right before you moved home?
I moved home right after having a miscarriage. He had sent me a derogatory text saying thanks for paying the rent, and he had me distraught, and I got out of there. And that's when I wanted to turn the lease over to him and everything.
Getting it. Slowly. I want to know why you got the second dog at this period of time. You were still together.
Because he said, let's breed. That way I
Okay,
can
so
pay
you
some
had
of your
Crown
loan.
already. And how much was royalty?
Royalty was $3,500.
Who paid for that dog?
I did.
May I see the proof of that?
Yes, right here.
Do you acknowledge, Mr. Alford, that the plaintiff paid for the second dog? And if you do not acknowledge that, show me where you took the money from to pay for the second dog.
It's not a fact.
Okay.
I have letter from the breeder. I have a receipt.
No, I don't want to see letter from the breeder or
And I have the
receipts.
contract.
Listen to me. I don't want to see letter from the breeder. I don't want to see a contract. I want to see where you took out the $3,500 from.
I don't have where I took it out. It was cash deal. It was cash.
I don't care if it was cash. You don't have that much cash.
That's
You'd have
cash.
somebody else paying your rent, sir.
That's not true.
So, just a second. You have somebody else paying your rent. You do not take $3,500 out if you can't pay your own rent to buy a dog. If you did, you have a bank account.
Okay.
And you'll show me where you took $3,500 out.
I no longer have that bank account.
Well, and I no longer believe you. Okay, good. So,
I'll show you my bank account.
shh. All this shows me, by the way, is a $500 deposit on June 11th.
And I have my
I'd like
bank
to
account
see.
because they only accept cash.
Just a second. Let me see where you took the money from.
Yes, ma'am.
You picked the dog up also in June.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'd like to see it. She's going to give you where she took the money from in June, and that would be $3,000 when she picked up the dog, or when she gave the money to the defendant to pick up the dog.
Thank you. Your Honor, where's 7,000 circled? Because I was supposed to get 2. I was supposed to get her and her sister. They were both $3,500. But he said that the same dogs had the same bloodline and that wouldn't be.
Did you get 2 from the same?
No, I got 1. And you can see where I gave
then-
him on the 15th $1,000.
Okay. Now, he says he has a contract. I don't want to see a letter.
contract.
All I want to see is a contract that you said you
With
had.
the receipt? Can I send up the receipt as well?
You can submit a receipt, but a receipt says nothing. A receipt says you picked up the dog. take your legs and go over to the bank and say, can I have my withdrawals, please? They will pull it up and say, $2,500 in August. This is what you paid. You understand that, sir? You're a smart man. Not necessarily an honest man, but a smart man.
Amina Thornton has accused her former client, Donnie Alford, of assaulting her and keeping her dog's registration papers. Donnie claims Amina owes him the value of the French bulldogs.
I'd like to see what he has. He says he has a contract. I don't want to see a letter.
Contract.
All I want to see is a contract that you said you
With
had.
the receipt? Can I send up the receipt as well?
You can submit a receipt, but a receipt says nothing. A receipt says you picked up the dog.
Okay.
She has a contract for the sale of the dog. Canine contract. Now, she has seller's initials and buyer's initials.
And I also have a letter from the person at Breed stating that I was.
Just a second.
Okay.
I don't read letters from your friend. And that's who you said it was, correct?
No.
Just a second. That's who you said it was. Would you read that back to me? It's from a friend of mine. Is that what you said, sir?
There's two people that's listed on the dog agreement.
Never mind.
The woman is not
Never
my
mind.
friend.
He said one of my dance friends.
One of your dance friends. Yeah, thank you. I knew which friend, but one of the dance friends. Okay, this dog's finished. This is royalty. What do you want to show me about royalty?
This is an email asking the breeder if she would give me the papers, being that he stole them.
No, I don't care about that.
Okay.
That's not only hearsay, it's not particularly relevant. What's the third dog's name?
Prince.
Who did you buy Prince from and when?
I brought him from Mr. in my town, in my county, on August 16th, I believe.
You had already moved back home.
Yes, ma'am.
To your family.
Yes, ma'am.
And he was, at that time, living in this two-bedroom apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
May I see proof that you paid for Prince?
Yes, ma'am.
While she's looking for that, Mr. Alford, do you have any proof that you paid for Prince?
No, I do not.
Okay. Did Miss Thornton pay for Prince?
She paid partial of the money.
Did you pay any of the money?
Yes.
How much did you pay?
I think I sent over $2,500 for him.
Show me.
I can't. I only have the registration papers.
Well, I don't care about the
And
registration
she
papers.
knows I doesn't have my old phone to pull up the receipts.
Listen,
All I have
listen.
is what I have.
That doesn't help me, Mr. Alford, at all. The fact
understand.
I got what I got. This is what I got. I don't have that. We're not talking about 10 years ago. We're talking about bank records where you can pull up bank records. You don't need a phone. All you need to do is take your legs and go over to the bank and say, can I have my withdrawals, please, for August of 2022? We're not even in August of 2023. They will pull it up and say $2,500 in August. This is what you paid. You understand that, sir? You're a smart man.
Your Honor.
Not necessarily an honest man, but a smart man. May I see the proof, please?
This is the,
Shh.
Okay.
Just show him.
and that's the $2,500.
Okay. Okay. Now, what you are suing for are the papers
Yes.
for those two dogs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have any other proof that you want to show me with regard to the ownership of these two dogs that's not hearsay, Mr. Alford? Plaintiff has the physical custody of the two dogs. Is that right? Oh, all three.
September of 2022. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have physical custody. You have any other proof that you contributed to the payment of the dogs?
No.
Okay, good. So that this court will.
Unless you want the letter. And
forget
you could verify the
Forget
letter.
it.
It's not, she's not my friend.
I don't care whether you paid the
Excuse me,
money,
Judge.
sir, whether you turned over the money. The question is, was it your money?
Yes.
Well, you have
It
no
was
proof
my
that
money.
you have no proof that it was your money. In any event, go ahead.
She doesn't even care about the dogs. I have proof that she said as soon as the dog has its last litter, I'm going to throw it in the trash and you could get her back. She doesn't care about the dogs.
Well, it's too bad then that you went into business with her, but she has physical custody of the dogs. There's nothing that I'm going to do about that, sir. You haven't had the dogs in your possession for almost a year.
I can't get them from her.
Well, that's
And Your Honor,
There's no
just
way
a
for me
second.
to get the
Just a
dogs from
second.
her.
I'm issuing an order to the AKC that this court makes a determination that the plaintiff is the owner of these three dogs, the two of which are in dispute right now, and that new registration papers should be reissued in her name.
and Your Honor.
Don't speak.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm finishing up with this because I'm almost done with it. Okay, I don't want to much hear about personal property. You now have the dogs in their possession. Did one of the dogs have a litter?
Yes, she did.
How many puppies?
Five.
When were they born?
April 6th.
Any of them sold yet?
No.
Who's taking care of them?
Me.
Well, you're here. Who's taking care of them
Oh,
now?
my husband. I'm sorry.
All 3 dogs are still with you?
I have 5 dogs. Yes, ma'am.
You have 5 altogether. What
Yes, ma'am.
kind?
All French bulldogs.
Okay, now let's deal with this assault. You want to tell me what the assault was about?
He was angry because I would not pay the rent anymore. Once the dogs became in my custody, which was September of 2022, I stopped paying rent. I stopped paying everything. And he began to request loans at that point.
You mean in person or on the phone or how?
Loans?
No. Were these demands made in person or over the phone? You moved out. You're now home with your husband and children.
I still would be in contact with him because of the music. So, yes.
Well, what did you have to do with the music?
I basically financed everything. I paid for everything. He had no money. He had this dream. He was homeless at the time. And I...
Okay, so you had an argument after you refused to pay the rent.
I have
and that was
pictures of his
just
stuff in trash bags.
Just a second. You had a disagreement about the rent.
Yeah.
In September of 2022.
It was more than the rent, ma'am.
Whatever you had a disagreement about, you say he assaulted you. Tell me where you were when this took place.
Actual assault took place in December. I was staying
December
away from
of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where did it take place?
Assault on her or nothing.
What?
I never been charged with assault on her
Just a
or
second.
nothing.
Where did it take place?
The assault took place in the apartment.
So you were there in the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me the circumstances.
Ethan Shepard is suing his neighbor, Joseph Hale, for vet bills and pain and suffering.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3016, Shepard versus Hale.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Shepard, how long have you and Mr. Hale been neighbors?
About 3 years.
How long are you living in your property?
About 15 years.
So he's the newcomer.
Yes.
And you are neighbors, but you live across the street from each other.
Or next door.
Right next door.
Yeah.
Do you have a photograph of the property?
Yeah.
I'd like to take a look at it. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Your house is on the right or the left?
My house on the left.
And your driveway is all the way left. I see a car in your driveway. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Going into a garage area or the side of the house?
The garage is on the, when it turns in. So like.
Yeah, okay. And the defendant's driveway is close to your house, is on your side of the house.
Yes.
Now, you each have dogs. You have a German Shepherd?
Yeah.
How old?
He's gonna be 3. Wait, we got him in 2019, right, 3? 4, sorry.
Who's that?
That's my mom.
Yeah. Math. And you have 2 dogs.
Correct.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have cane corsos.
Tell me what they look like.
They look like they're mastiffs.
Could you bring one up, Sarah, for me to take a look at?
Sure.
Unless you have a photograph.
I do.
She's going to show me anyway, because I know what a German Shepherd looks like.
Oh, a German Shepherd. I thought you were talking about
No,
King
King
Corsos?
Corso.
Yeah.
Oh, they're big dogs.
Big guys.
Big dogs. How old are your dogs?
About 4 and 3.5.
Anyway, this is what the lawsuit is about. It is your claim that the defendant's dogs, while unleashed, came on your property, attacked your dog was injured. You want the defendant to be responsible for whatever vet bills there were, and for punitive damages, you're suing him for $10,000. Defendant says that your dog actually came onto his property, and then they ran back onto your property, and that your dog was unleashed at the time that this happened. Now, the incident occurred on what date?
On March 5th, 2023.
According to what I read, you were going shopping with your mother or your grandmother? Your mother.
My mother. We're gonna drive around the city, practicing for my driving test.
And you were taking the dog with you?
Yes.
And that was the plan. You were going to drive around, the dog was going to sit in the back seat or whatever. And you decided that you had to go to the restroom. So you went back into the house before you left.
Yes.
So your mother is here. And your mother's going to stand up now because Your mother was there from the beginning. Your last name is?
Shepherd.
Shepherd. Miss Shepherd, we're going to go to March 5th, approximately what time?
2:30.
I'd like you to go over to that photograph. Now, you were leaving the house with your son. He said, I have to go back into the house, go to the bathroom, and you were taking the Shepherd with you. Show me where you were getting into the car.
So my car was parked here. Buck and I came out of the front door, and we're standing about here. Buck went into the yard about right here, was smelling around.
Just a second. So let's do this slowly.
Okay.
You come out of the house with Buck.
Yeah. So we walked across the driveway.
Yes.
Into the front yard about here.
No, that's not what you said a moment ago. A moment ago, you said you were standing here and Buck walked over to the grass. That's what you said a moment ago.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I want you to be very, very careful.
Okay.
Let's be very careful.
Okay.
Because I'm creating a picture in my mind, and I don't want the picture that you create for me to be different from what actually happened.
Okay.
Do we understand each
Yes.
other?
Yeah.
You walked out of the house with Buck.
Yes.
You were going to go in your car.
Yeah.
You were standing where?
I was standing here in the driveway.
You were standing in the driveway,
Yes.
and the dog?
Walked into the yard about here.
Okay, to relieve himself.
He was just smelling.
Smelling.
Yeah.
Okay, and at that time, the dog was unleashed.
Correct. Because we were about to get into it.
Not because.
Okay.
The dog, a big dog, was unleashed.
Yes.
Okay. And so now he's in the middle of the yard, unleashed.
Correct.
And what happened next?
I walked onto the grass by the dog. I was going to start putting him in the car. I turned.
Did you call him? Did you call him to come to you?
No, I was standing next to him.
No, you weren't. You were in the driveway. You said you
No, but I
started to
walked
walk
onto the
over.
grass.
You
Yeah.
said you started to walk over.
Correct.
And I said to you, did you call him first because you're standing in
No.
the driveway? Did you say, Buck?
No.
Well, how are you going to get him? You're going to grab his collar? How are you going to grab him to put him in the car? I want you to be really careful about what you say to me because I'm a dog owner. If I was standing in the driveway and my dog, according to you, knew we were going in the car, I would have said, Buck, let's go.
Ethan Shepherd claims his neighbor, Joseph Hale, owes for vet bills and pain and suffering. Joseph is countersuing for damages from an assault with a baseball bat.
Now, I said to you, did you call him first because you're standing in
No.
the driveway? Did you say, Buck?
No.
Well, how are you going to get him? You're going to grab his collar? How are you going to grab him to put him in the car?
I walked to him to bring him to the car. I didn't call his name. I just walked to him.
And how are you going to bring him? I mean, you know, when I
He's
say...
going to follow me to the car.
Well,
He
that's
knows
what I'm
we're
asking.
getting him. He knew we were going to get into the car.
Well, you know, he didn't know you were going to get into the car if you called him.
I didn't
You
have time to say anything.
Well, you had time to walk over instead of walking over. Why don't you just call him? You're closer to the car from the driveway than you are going to the grass. That's what I want you to be really careful about, Miss Shepherd. I want you to be really careful about what you say to me because I'm a dog owner.
Okay.
I've had puppies that I don't trust outside by themselves. And then when they get older, if I was standing in the driveway and my dog, according to you, knew we were going in the car, I would have said, Buck, let's go. That's just normal for a dog owner, for a dog that's 4 years old. Buck, let's go. Not walking over and leaning over and grabbing him because he's unleashed by a collar, which I assume he had on, to walk him over to the car. Doesn't make sense to me. Okay. Let's continue with this.
Okay.
So now the dog is unleashed. You're walking over on the grass.
Correct. And I'm standing next to Buck. I'm walking towards him, looking out towards the street because I'm walking forward. I see Bruno, the black dog, look at us. He takes off running around our little fence here and starts heading over to where I am standing with Buck. I start screaming, no, no, Buck, no, no. Buck turns and sees Bruno. Bruno is on him. They're wrestling, they're chasing, they're running to our porch. I'm running behind them, screaming. I run inside my house, grab a bat. We have bats at our front door because there's a lot of homeless people and we have to protect ourselves. They've come to the door before. While I'm getting the bat, I throw off my sandals. My mom hears me screaming, who was in the living room. She stands up, goes to the door. Ethan was in the bathroom, going to the bathroom. They both run out into the front yard. I follow them out. When I come out, I now see Joe.
Who's Joe? Raise your hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Joe, our neighbor. He is now in our yard. The female dog, Beulah, is on Buck. They're fighting.
Show me where.
By my car. This isn't my car, this is my dad's, but my car was here. They're fighting by my car. The dogs are biting. Joe's on the ground in between the dogs with Beulah's collar. My son is standing there screaming. Bruno, the black dog that had started the fight, was now on our grass. He was headed home. He turned back and looked at me, and I had the bat, and I'm screaming at him, "Go home, Bruno, go home! Out of my yard!" Joe is saying, hit him, in the midst of him with the dogs fighting. I chased Bruno into his yard. So now Bruno is standing here.
Now this fence
he goes
is how
around the fence.
this fence stops on the property before the property ends.
Yeah, it goes, there's a couple feet where it's just free. There's like a meter thing in the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
How high is that fence?
Maybe to my knees.
Oh, I see it, please.
Oh, here's
Okay.
I think you can hop over it. I'm standing here yelling at Bruno.
Oh, this is an easy hop fence. This is
Yes.
Yes, this isn't a high fence. This is
No.
a hop fence. It's not designed to do anything but visually separate the property. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, let's stop for a moment. Go back.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Hale,
Yes.
I'd like you to go over to the same photograph. Mm-hmm. You were in your garage.
Correct. With the dog.
This is your garage,
Correct.
with your garage door open,
Correct.
with your dogs unleashed.
Correct.
Somehow your unleashed dogs got out.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So on Sunday, 2:30, March 5th, I was in my garage with the dogs, and I noticed their dog came to the fence line and came over. My dogs came to here. They're looking at each other. Their dog growls. The dogs run out, come over, start running over here. I give chase.
Hey, let's stop there. I want you to read that back to me, and I want you to listen carefully to what Whitney is going to read.
Okay, so on Sunday, 2:30, March 5th, I was in my garage with the dogs, and I noticed their dog came to the fence line and came over. My
Came
dog
to the fence line. Just stop there 1 second. Show me the fence line. Show me came over. Careful. Show me came over.
Technically not came over it. On
Okay,
the fence
that's
line.
what I wanted to make sure. So technically, there's nothing technically. That's like basically.
Correct.
Their dog did not come on your property. Their dog came to the fence. Your dogs came to the fence, but their dog did not come on your property. Go back. That's either a yes or a no. Your dogs came around and went on their property.
Correct. After their dog growled at my dogs.
That's okay. Dogs growl. That's what dogs do. That's what dogs do. Your dogs got on to their property. And as a result of that, their dog was injured, and you're responsible for the vet bills. That's easy. You're responsible for the vet bills. Their dog was unleashed. If you had said to me, yes, their dog came around to and then scooted back to my property, we would have had a whole different scenario here. But their unleashed dog was on their property, and your unleashed dogs came on their property, and there was a dog fight, and you're responsible. Now, I also understand, sir, that this was not the first time that there has been an incident involving your two dogs.
Correct.
Is that right? The first one was several years before.
Correct.
And at that time, several years before, there was also some injury to the German Shepherd. It's one thing, and believe me, I'm not minimizing the fact that a dog was injured, but it could just as well have been a small child that ventured on to your property. You have to keep those dogs in check all the time. You too.
Ethan Shepard, is accusing his neighbor, Joseph Hale, of owing for vet bills after Joseph's dogs attacked his dog. Joseph is countersuing, claiming he was assaulted with a baseball bat.
Now, I also understand, sir, that this was not the first time that there has been an incident involving your two dogs.
Correct.
Is that right? The first one was several years before.
Correct.
And at that time, several years before, there was also some injury to the German Shepherd.
Correct.
Well, do you own your house?
No.
You rent.
Correct.
How long have you rented there?
4 years.
You have a landlord?
Correct.
You have homeowners insurance?
I had renter's insurance.
You had renter's insurance. You don't have any more.
No.
You want to tell me why?
The renter's insurance, it lapsed 2 weeks prior to the first altercation. And then after that first altercation, the shepherds, during all that, I paid the vet bills and took care of everything as I should.
From your insurance?
No.
Without your insurance?
Without my insurance, out of pocket. And then they got an attorney involved and tried to sue over that incident. Well, with that being said,
your insurance company dropped you?
Correct.
Well, of course, because when you applied for renter's insurance, did you tell them that you had 2 King Corsos?
Yes, they did.
And they probably upped your premium? Did they up your premium?
No.
Sarah Rose, there's a registry for the top, well, they're more than the top 5, but just give me the top 5 most dangerous dogs as rated by insurance companies.
So I have a Forbes article that discusses dog breeds that are banned by the top insurance companies, and it puts them percentage of banned lists with this breed.
Let's go to German Shepherds.
45% banned.
45%.
They're banned 40% of the time by insurance companies.
40.
45.
45. And what about King Corsos?
19% of the time they're dropped or not offered coverage due to the breed of the dog.
So I would suggest that you have these big dogs and you have no insurance anymore. Do you have a job?
Yes, I do.
Make a salary?
Yes.
You know, something happens, they can attach your salary. Something happens with those 2 dogs, they can attach your salary. So you can't be cavalier about these large dogs that have already showed a propensity that they can be violent. That's on you. You know, it's one thing, and believe me, I'm not minimizing the fact that a dog was injured, but it could just as well have been a small child that ventured on to your property. You have to keep those dogs in check all the time. You too. There's a reason why you're supposed to have dogs under your control at all times. And I say this, especially big dogs that can cause serious damage. Now, what were your vet bills?
Total of $377.33.
I'd like to see them.
Sorry.
Just a little comic relief for me. Could you tell me how $322.90 translates into $10,000?
For emotional distress. For
Whose?
attacks. Mine.
Whose? For yours?
Yeah.
You were in the bathroom.
No, I came out during the fight.
I know.
Okay.
$322.
Okay.
That's on your team. You have a counterclaim for $10,000.
Yes.
And your counterclaim is that while you were trying to separate these dogs, you got bit.
I did get bit on my hands and wrists, and I have pictures.
And why do you think he's responsible for that?
It was their dog that bit.
Who cares? The incident was, put your hand down. The incident was precipitated by your dogs not being under your control. And if you got into the mix and try to separate them and their dog bit you, well, that's what happens. That's why you should keep your dogs on leashes. I would like you to walk over to that photograph and point out to me on the photograph where you were when your hand got bitten.
I was right here.
You were on their property, right?
Correct.
Now you understand? Now, if you had been on your property and their unleashed dog followed you back to your property and you were on your property, I'd hear you. But you're on their property. You were getting your dogs back in between the dog fight. Counterclaims dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $322. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Well, I'm just happy it's over and we get to go back to being neighbors.
I think it was fair that he had to pay the vet bills, but I think emotional distress could have been given a little bit as well.
I dove into the middle of the dog fight and separated my dog from from both dogs fighting, and I brought my dog back onto the property.
Traumatic. Seeing my dog get attacked for the second time by these same dogs and having to live it all again.
Their investigation was to see who was at fault, but both dogs were off leash, so they deemed no one at fault.
I think it was fair. I just wish that we could have touched base on the main reason why we're here. It was my son's emotional distress. He had to see a psychologist. Seeing our dog in distress and his demeanor had changed. I mean, I'm happy with her ruling, but I just wish we would have had a little more say.
That was from the first altercation 2 years ago. He was bitten in a dog fight. We did not determine if it was my dog or his dog.
They came out because we felt that if the dogs needed to be taken, or we just felt like it was the right thing to do, that they needed to come out.
Well, we just both keep our dogs on a leash and stay away from each other.
I know that list was a little confusing, but I wanted just to read it word for word. I guess the way Forbes had it illustrated was just the percentage of those types of dogs that are banned on the top insurance companies' lists as far as home insurance, renter's insurance. So I'd assume German Shepherds came up higher just because they're more known or
probably more popular
breed.
Popular breed.
But Cane Corsos were right up there. I'd be scared of both dogs if they came running in my yard.
Yeah, it's so frightening, and I love dogs, but I'm not a big dog lover.
You're a small
I'm
dog.
a little dog person, because if they bite you, they can't kill you. They can nip you and, could be uncomfortable for a couple of days. But I would be petrified if 2 Cane Corsos came running in my direction and nobody was in tethered control of them. And people think, their dogs are wonderful with them, they're gentle, but this defendant had a history with his dogs. He actually paid out of pocket a couple of years ago for injuries that his dogs caused. Anyway, you have a big dog, you're supposed to have big responsibility. You want less responsibility? Get a Chihuahua.
Megan McCarthy and Ryan Fox are suing their former employee, Roberto Encinas, for overpayment of wages, bookkeeping fees, and loss of business income.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 3048, McCarthy fought versus Encinas.
Mr. McCarthy?
Miss
McCarthy. Do you run the business together? Are you related to each other?
Yes, husband and wife.
Okay. What kind of business do you have?
It's a production design and set construction company. We build sets.
Where is it located?
Van Nuys.
In California?
California, yes.
How long have you owned the business?
About 7 years.
Tell me when you hired Mr. Encinas.
We originally hired him in January of 2022.
To do what?
Welding and fabrication.
Did you have experience in that, Mr.?
Oh, yeah, 25 years.
How much were you paid when you were originally hired?
$39.75 hourly, and promised to be in the union.
$39.75 hourly.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get paid once a week?
Once a week, every Wednesday.
By check or cash?
Direct deposit.
Is that correct?
I believe it was $39.50, but yes, the rest is...
Direct deposit?
Yes.
This is what your case is about. At some point, you determined that you had overpaid Mr. Encinas. When did you discover that you were overpaying Mr. Encinas?
We discovered the error on September 22nd, 2022.
And had you been consistently overpaying him since January?
No, so it's a little bit complicated. We have 2 companies, one is union, one is not. In April of 22, we hired him with our non-union company to perform a different non-union job, and that is when the error occurred with that company and that payroll company. He was entered into the system incorrectly by my bookkeeper, who's here as our witness today.
Okay. It was still direct deposit.
Correct, yes.
The net that was deposited into his check when he was working in the union shop was how much?
I would estimate $1,800 to $2,000.
Well, don't estimate. That's what we're doing here.
I don't have an exact figure of how much he netted every week. It was different every week on every job.
Because he worked
different amount of hours.
Different hours. So he worked different hours. So the direct deposit was different for each time.
Sure.
So there was really no way, there were no flashing red lights that would say to Mr. Encinas, this pay stub is wrong. This deposit was wrong, because it wasn't a consistent amount that went in every Wednesday. It was, according to you, a different amount depending upon how many hours worked. He wasn't given a physical check. Money was put into the bank by a direct deposit. That's what you said.
That's correct.
Okay.
But if I may, it would be anywhere from $1,700 to $2,000. The first overpayment, he netted $4,645. Like, it's quite a jump in pay. Like, that was probably should have been
a lot of overtime.
Just
yes, quite a difference.
Quite a difference, but that was going from one job to another, from one company to another, from a union job to a non-union company.
Rate.
Well, whatever. Okay. And so what you're suing for the overage that you paid him.
Yes.
And there came a time when you discussed the overage with him. And what did he say when you told him that he was overpaid? And when did you tell him that he was overpaid?
We told him September, the day we discovered the error, September 22nd, and it was very amicable at first. We apologized for the error. We wanted to work out a payment plan with him, and he agreed. He said, I get it. I would love to do a payment plan, and I believed him because we had a good working relationship.
And did you, in fact, draw up a payment plan that you both signed?
No, I did not.
Okay. Unusual case for me. I really am unfamiliar with the law on overpayment. Sarah, could you look up for me the California law on when an employee is overpaid by an employer? How do they and can they recoup it?
Sure. So it's California Labor Code 221. The statute describes that employers are forbidden from taking back any wages that have already been paid to employees unless there's a stipulation that the employee can agree in writing to the deduction by the employer. So if an employee consents to a set-off or a wage deduction for any reason, including overpayment by an employer, then the employer can make it so long as it does not bring the worker below the minimum wage or the deduction does not impact the worker's final wages. But it has to be in a writing.
Okay, so you don't have a writing.
Well, we have it in email where he did agree to a payment plan. We never formally, I didn't have my attorney draft up a formal agreement, no.
You don't have an agreement, one that he agreed to, but you started taking money out of his pay, correct?
With his knowledge, a small percentage.
Doesn't matter. You started taking money out of his pay when?
He was working for us at the time when we caught the error.
No, in September.
The third week of September.
And at that time, how much do you allege that he was overpaid?
$6,595.41.
And what did you start to take out of his pay?
It was $276 that first time.
Where did you come up with that number?
I would have to refer to my bookkeeper, Danny. I don't exactly remember. It says 7 hours, less 7 hours. That wasn't his full paycheck. It was a small percentage of what he was making that week.
You're the bookkeeper?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you stand up for one moment? What is your name?
Danny White.
Mr. White, the first time that you gave Mr. Encinas a direct deposit for less than his pay, how much was the direct deposit for?
I don't have the total amount of what it was for. He would have been making around $1,800, and I took $296.
With his knowledge, we informed him, obviously.
I don't care what you informed him about. You understood what the law is. I'm sure that you must have spoken to an attorney also. Did you not?
I don't believe we did, no.
You should have, because where you live, you can't just take money out of somebody's salary if you overpay them. How many deductions did you make from his pay before he left?
2.
And then he left?
The job ended.
Well, he had been working for you for a while, so the job ended. Did you fire him? The job was over, and so was he.
Correct.
So he didn't leave you. According to what you just told me, he didn't leave you. You said goodbye, the job's over.
And later today,
without permission, you got into somebody else's golf cart and moved it. And within 10 minutes, his car is damaged.
Megan McCarthy and Ryan Fox claim their former employee, Roberto Encinas, is refusing to pay back the wages they overpaid him.
Well, he had been working for you for a while, so the job ended. Did you fire him?
No.
You just said goodbye.
The job was complete. We did the build and we sent it to the client, and then that job was over. So
Well, I know, but he had been working for you January and February and March, April, May, June, July, August, September, I'm sure on different jobs. Would that be a fair statement? He worked on different jobs. But in September, when this overpayment was noticed, the job was over and so was he.
Correct.
So he didn't leave you. According to what you just told me, he didn't leave you. You said goodbye, the job's over.
Yeah, correct. I had every intention of working with him again. We had a good working relationship. I thought we were going to be able to work out a payment plan and figure it out together.
Okay. Well, sorry, but you can't. Thank you, Mr. White. Okay. You have a whole bunch of reasons why you shouldn't owe them the money. One of them is they were supposed to get you into a union shop and you didn't, and so that's why you don't owe them money. Bottom line is the statute protects you. But one of the problems that I see when you have a direct deposit, your problem is that his, according to you, his pay varied every week because sometimes he worked 7 hours, sometimes he worked 15 hours, and so his pay would vary depending upon how much was billed for that week. Well, it depends upon how carefully someone reviews their direct deposit. You know, if you review your direct deposit and you have money coming in to a checking account and going out, you don't watch it that carefully over a relatively short period of time because it was a relatively short period of time. And the law protects Mr. Encinas from you recouping that money unless he agrees to it. And the agreement has to be in writing. Is that what you just told me the law is in California?
That is the Labor Code 221.
Yeah, I'm not particularly sympathetic with you, Miss McCarthy, because under the circumstances, if you had given him a check, if your bookkeeper handed him a check, and he used to get $2,000, and then all of a sudden he changed jobs and he was getting $4,000, you would say, oh my goodness. But I can understand how you can miss that for a month or two and not notice that in your checking account. And that's why the law is there to protect him. And it does. It protects him from your lawsuit. We're done. Thank you very much. Case is dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
I'm a little disappointed, but very disappointed, actually.
They made a mistake.
I thought that I had done my homework and looked it up, and whatever I read said that he owed me the money back.
Because I did all the hours that they put down on the paperwork.
No, I think it was stealing. After 6 months of him ignoring my phone calls and not replying and saying he was going to make payments and he just wouldn't, yeah, it felt like it was stealing.
I did not get free money.
Yeah, if you're given money that isn't yours, give it back.
The statute is meant to protect the employee from the employers removing money for things like insurance or tax deductions. So that's why there needs to be a signed writing to say I'm opting into insurance or, you know, I'm going to file my own taxes, all of that minutia that you have to deal with employers. But it does say that if you agree in writing to a deduction as the employee,
as a clawback,
that's okay. But here, as we saw very clearly, there was no signed writing. But the way I read the statute was that had to be in writing in order to protect the employee.
It just looks like it can't be a unilateral determination of how much you're going to take out.
Sure.
Also, I found interesting, and I really believe this because somebody who gets direct deposits from other things, I don't look every week to see whether the direct deposit has been made. I'll call once a month or I'll wait and get my statement. But what she said was, and, you know, math is not our strong suit, she was suing for $6,000. Mm-hmm. And what she said was he was overpaid by $2,000 a paycheck, which means there were only 3 paychecks that he would have been overpaid, which is really very easy to miss, but very easy to spend. If you look on your phone and you see you have so much money in your bank and you spend it, what are you supposed to do?
But he had a good explanation for why it wasn't that far off from his usual. He had put in extra time on his time cards for overtime and things of that nature. So I agree with you that 3 payments for a little bit more than what you were used to, I don't think would have raised a red flag.
Because he may not have looked.
Sure.
It was interesting because I didn't get from the papers that they let him go.
I didn't either.
I thought that he just stopped working from reading the papers because they started to take money out of his check. And then she acknowledged that, well, the job ended. Yeah. Well, many jobs that he had ended because they have jobs since January, 8 months.
I picked up on that.
After this one, they let him go.
Follow the rules if you want to get your money back.
Case number 3050, Cockrell versus McMurray. All parties, please step forward.
Justin Cockrell is suing his friend, James McMurray III, for damage after a golf cart hit his car.
Mr. Cockrell, it is your claim that owing to the defendant's negligence, your car was dented.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see a picture of the dent on your car?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a serious dent. Okay, let me understand the theory of your case. Mr. McMurray is a friend of yours. I assume you were there as well that day?
Yes, ma'am.
You were all having a pleasant afternoon, having a couple of drinks. Were you watching a sporting event?
We were watching golf.
At whose house were you
At
watching it?
Bubba's house.
Your house?
Yes, ma'am.
How many people had golf carts?
2. I drove my car over there. Everybody else lives in that neighborhood, so they'll drive their golf carts.
And Mr. McMurray, what time did you get to the event?
I got there around 2:30 that afternoon.
And did you bring your golf cart?
I sure did.
You drove your golf cart. On what date was this?
May 21st.
So let me see if I've got the alleged facts right. You wanted to leave at some point. You went outside and found that somebody's golf cart was blocking your golf cart
That's correct, Your Honor.
in the driveway.
Yes, that is correct.
The keys, I assume, were in the golf cart,
That's correct, Your Honor.
the one that was blocking your golf cart. So you moved that golf cart in order to get your car out.
That's correct.
Mr. Cockrell says that when you moved that golf cart, you moved it and left it negligently, so that golf cart rolled down the driveway and hit his car, causing this damage. I can't go grocery shopping anymore unless that shopping cart goes where it's supposed to be, because somebody's around who's going to take my picture, leaving that cart around, and it's going to humiliate me.
Justin Cockrell claims his friend, James McMurray III, owes for car damage after a golf cart rolled into his vehicle.
Is that the theory of your case?
That's correct, yes, ma'am. The golf carts were actually in the garage. I had parked parallel to the garage, so when the cart rolled, it rolled out of the garage and into the side of my car.
Okay. And you, Mr. McMurray, don't deny the fact that you moved somebody else's golf cart.
That's correct.
And you don't deny that that golf cart that you moved caused the damage to his car.
When I got back to the scene, the cart had hit the car.
So those are acknowledged facts. You moved the golf cart. As far as we know, you were the last person that touched that golf cart. That golf cart caused this damage, and he wants you to be responsible. So now, with those agreed facts, which really makes my life so much easier, I want you to tell me why it's not your fault.
Your Honor, when I moved the golf cart, it was blocking my cart. So I moved it to the left of mine. So when I put the brake on the golf cart and walked behind the golf cart to get back to my cart that was right next to it, and I backed up, took my time, making sure I didn't hit the car in my golf cart, I turned around and I head to my house.
At what time was that?
I'd probably been there 45 minutes, so 3:15.
And you went home to do what?
I went to go home to take care of my dog.
What did you have to do to take care of
I
your
needed
dog?
to let him outside to use the restroom.
Did you?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what did you do? Then you came back to the house?
Then I came back
to the house?
Yes.
So would you say you were gone 10 minutes?
Yes.
So now you're gone 10 minutes. Just let the dog out. Now you're gone 10 minutes and you come out and you find that the golf cart that you moved, without anybody's permission, by the way, you didn't ask the owner of that golf
No, I
cart
did
if you
not.
could touch it.
The keys were in it.
Well, if the keys are in a car, sir, and you pull up in front of the Piggly Wiggly, and the keys are in a car, but it doesn't belong to you, but the car is sitting right where you want to put your car to put your groceries in, and just because the keys are in the car doesn't mean you can drive it, right?
Right.
So without permission, you got into somebody else's golf cart and moved it. And within 10 minutes, his car is damaged.
That's correct.
So give me a theory, sir, of what happened that you're not responsible for.
Like I said earlier, Judge, I moved the cart, parked it, and I walked behind that cart. If this cart is what they're alleging rolled back on its own, then wouldn't it have hit me when I walked behind it getting into my cart?
Maybe it needed a nudge from the wind. Maybe it needed something else. But that's not the kind of intervening act, sir, that gets you off the hook.
Well,
doesn't get you off the hook.
okay.
I'm going to give you an example, my favorite example. Many years ago, I tried a case. that changed my life to a minute degree forever. You know, you go grocery shopping, you go to big stores, and they always have a place where you put the grocery cart after you finish loading your car, right? Put them here. So this particular case was about a woman who went shopping and she had a big load of groceries and she unloaded the groceries in her car and then do what some irresponsible people do. They just leave the cart there. Cart can roll, cart, you know, could be touched, whatever. And the cart rolled into another car and caused damage. The defendant's defense to that case wasn't her, it was wind, which is an act of God. Wind came and blew the shopping cart into the plaintiff's car. Well, the wind isn't an intervening act, because if the shopping cart had been put into its place, wind, rain, frogs, hail, nothing would have happened to the plaintiff's car. We understand each other?
We do.
That's actually not the punchline of this story, because after all, we're just dealing with a dented car here. After that case aired, because I was doing it in the television courtroom, I was shopping in Publix in Florida, and I unloaded my groceries in the trunk of my car and was going to leave the shopping cart there. And 3 women got out of a car together who had clearly seen that episode and stood there with their arms crossed, waiting to see if I was going to put the shopping cart back where it belonged. So when I say that case changed my life forever, I can't go grocery shopping anymore unless, I don't care where it is, it could be 20 blocks away, but that shopping cart goes where it's supposed to be because somebody's around who's going to take my picture, leaving that cart around, and it's going to humiliate me. So what I'm saying to you is, it's your fault.
It wasn't my golf cart. It wasn't my house.
It wasn't, it was just a second, it wasn't your golf cart, which means you shouldn't have touched it, which means if you wanted to go home and let your dog out, which you probably should have done a half hour before, then you go inside and say, because you know all these people, whose golf cart is that? It's blocking me in. Can you move it? That's easy. You would do that with a car. You just took it upon yourself to go to touch somebody else's property, and within a millisecond, because nobody else came out and touched that car, you were the last person who touched that golf cart. You were. It caused this damage. You know, don't make excuses. Accept responsibility. Shouldn't have done it, whether you forgot to put the brake on it or not, because I've driven golf carts. We have them around, and sometimes I forget. It says turn it on, and then you hit the brake, and there are 2 brakes, so I never park it like this. If anything, I park it like this against a tree, so it can't go anyplace. It's your fault.
Well, that brings up
another... It's your fault. May I have the estimate to fix your car,
yes,
please? What year car is this BMW?
It's, 2011.
Judge, can I ask you a question?
No, I don't answer questions. That's one of the delights of this job. I ask questions. I don't answer questions. Nice. 1482, judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
It wasn't my golf cart. I wasn't driving.
Bubba had actually gone outside shortly after Dab left, and he saw it happen.
Whenever I left, I got out of that cart, walked behind it, so wouldn't it have hit me?
I think if he'd done the right thing, owned up to it at the beginning, and said, yeah, let's work it out, but...
And it's been a little hairy. We're probably going to work it out.
We'll be all right, because we'll get past it. I told him that from the beginning. I said, hey, no matter what happens, you know, if you pay me or not, whatever, I'm not going to let that come in between. We've been friends 15 years, but it's like, dude...
You know, I have been noticing that whenever we go to Publix together, you do park extremely close to the cart return now. Yes, so, so
not to the entrance.
No. The cart return is the place to be.
Now you know why.
Now I know why.
Grecia and Juan Galvan are suing their neighbor, Ruben Alonso, for vet bills after their dog was attacked by Ruben's dog.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3060, Galvan versus Alonso.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Galvan, that's your dog. Your dog's name is?
Yogi.
Yogi. And this is your dad?
Correct.
Miss Galvan, you and Mr. Alonso are neighbors.
Correct.
He lives across the street from you?
No, so he's actually 2 doors over to the left. So his house is the green one on the right side, and mine is the yellow on the left.
Pink house is in between. How long have you lived in your house?
About 15 years now.
And your dog is 13?
Yes.
And Mr. Alonso, how long have you lived in your house?
7 years.
Who do you live there with?
With my wife and my kids.
How old are your children?
My oldest ones are 17 years old, and my youngest one is 13. And forgot to say my son, Jason Alonso. He's 24 years old.
He lives at home?
Yes.
And you have a dog?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of dog do you have?
He's an American Bully.
American Bully is a combination pit bull and what?
Between a pit bull and an English bulldog.
A male dog?
Yeah, male dog.
How old is he?
He's 4 years old.
How long have you had him?
4 years.
How much does he weigh?
70 pounds.
And his name?
Max.
It is your claim, Miss Galvin, that your neighbor, Mr. Alonso's dog, bit and severely injured yours.
Correct.
Also causing some injury to your dad.
Yeah.
Mr. Alonso says that his dog was on a leash, your dog was not, and whatever fight or scrapping the dog has and the injuries to your dog were therefore not his responsibility because
That's
your
not
dog
true.
was off leash. That's your defense.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this incident happened when, Miss Galvin?
On the morning of April 28th at 4:30 in the morning.
4:30 in the morning?
Correct, yeah.
What was everybody doing up 4:30 in the morning?
I work at 5 a.m., so I was heading out to work.
And what was your father doing up at that hour?
He too works at the same company, so we carpool together, and he was walking my dog for me.
Would you ask Mr. Galvin to tell me what happened at about 5 o'clock on April 28th of this year when you were walking Yogi?
Estaba caminando mi perro.
I was walking my dog.
En el momento en que abrí el gate, estaba abriendo el gate.
At the moment that I opened the gate, I was opening the gate.
Could you walk up to the photograph and show me where you were?
Aquí.
You were over there.
Right here.
Estaba abriendo el gate.
I was opening the gate.
Oí pasos corriendo. Cuando volteé, miré al perro del señor.
I heard steps of something running. When I turned, it was the man's dog.
Where was the dog coming from?
De aquí.
From here.
Could you see Mr. Alonso?
No.
No.
Just the dog?
It wasn't true.
Perro cuando ya.
Shh, Mr. Alonso, you're going to have a chance to tell me your version of the events.
Miré al perro cuando ya estaba encima de nosotros.
I saw the dog when it was already on top of us.
Volteé y me golpeó en las piernas con el cuerpo.
I turned and it hit my legs with its body.
Me tambaleó y quedé recargado en el gate.
It made me tumble and I leaned against the gate.
Ya cuando reaccioné, el perro ya estaba atacando a mi perro de la espalda.
When I came to, it was attacking my dog on its back.
Fuertísimo. Lo movía feo.
Very harshly. It was shaking it badly.
Traté de estarlo auxiliando, quitarlo.
I tried to help him and to pull it off.
Why don't you step back now so that... Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Traté de estarlo sacando. Llegó mi hija a auxiliarme.
I tried to help, and my daughter came to help.
Y estuvimos forcejeando.
And we were struggling.
Stop one moment. Miss Galvin, at what point did you observe this interaction between your dog and Max?
Instantly. I was walking out of my house, and I have full visual of my entire driveway, and I immediately saw when my dog started crying for help. The defendant's dog, Max, was mauling him and viciously attacking him.
What I want to know is when you came out of your house, because you didn't see how it started, you saw that Max was on your dog at that point. Did you see Mr. Alonso?
No.
I would like you to walk over. Your father will take him. Just walk over there and show me where you were when you came out and where your dad was with your dog.
Our front door is right about here, and I was walking out, and my father was here.
Right on the corner near the...
Opening the gate, correct.
Okay. Now you can go back. Miss Galvin, at what point did you see Mr. Alonso, if at all, that day?
After a few seconds of us trying to separate the two dogs, he did come out and try to...
So you saw him coming from his house?
Yeah, he was running from his house.
Running?
More or less.
And what happened when he got to where the two dogs were?
Well, the dog was unleashed and without a collar, so the defendant grabbed his back legs,
and attempted to separate the two.
Was he successful?
At the time, yes.
So Mr. Alonso grabbed his dog's back legs and pulled him off yours.
Correct, yeah.
And then what did he do?
At that instance, my father picked my dog up through his leash, almost strangling him, to put him on the car that was outside for his safety. The dog, Max, then lunged at my father. I intervened by kicking for his safety, and I got bit in my shoe.
It's not true, Your Honor.
When you say you got bit by Max.
Correct.
Did it go through your shoe?
No.
But
I did get bit, and I felt it.
Okay, but it didn't pierce your skin?
No. My main concern was my dog's damages.
Okay. And Mr. Alonso was finally able to pull his dog off yours?
Correct.
And off
actually
you?
Got dragged on the cement and
Who
the
did?
sidewalk. Mr. Alonso. His dog is very, very strong.
Would you show me, go back to there and show me, Miss Galvin, when you say Mr. Alonso got dragged, show me where. I saw where the incident took place in the corner.
Correct.
And where did his dog drag him? I want to tell you something. I do not believe you.
Why not?
I don't answer questions. And I also want to tell you to be very careful what you tell me.
Okay.
Very careful.
Grecia and Juan Galvan claim their neighbor, Ruben Alonso, owes for vet bills after Ruben's dog attacked their dog. Ruben says his dog was the one attacked.
Where did his dog drag him?
So everything started here. We eventually tried separating the dogs towards this way. Mr. Alonso was dragged from this area down. The car was parked here, so we managed to put the dog on top of the car, and Mr. Alonso was on the floor wrestling his dog to control him.
You took your dog to the vet?
Immediately, yes.
You have the vet report and bill?
I do.
May I see it, please? Kevin? So your vet bills look in total to be about $4,600.
About 58, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I may have missed one.
He suffered a level 4 bite wound, and from
He was very seriously injured. There's no question. He was very seriously injured, spent a long time in the hospital. Okay, Mr. Alonso, the ball is in your court, sir. I'd like to hear your version of what happened.
The date on April 28, what happened, I was walking my dog with the leash. That's what I usually do every day before I go to work.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Don't speak.
That's what I usually do.
I don't care. Mr. Alonso,
Yes.
I want you to understand something.
Yes.
I don't care what you usually do.
Okay.
And there are certain things that are common sense.
All right.
Do you understand?
Yes. Okay, I was on April 28, I was walking my dog on a leash.
And I also want to tell you to be very careful what you tell me.
Okay.
Very careful.
Okay, April 28, I was walking my dog on a leash.
Show me where you were.
I was walking to the left, right here. That's my house on the green.
I know where your house is.
Okay, I was walking to this when I noticed that the gate was open. And then when I was getting close by, her dog started coming out, barking to the sidewalk, biting my dog in the legs. Okay, biting my dog in the legs. Then when I start pulling out my dog from their dog, that's when Juan and Grecia came out. So they start grabbing their dog too. Okay, Grecia even apologized after the dog to the vet. And then later on, when she received the bill, she wanted me to pay her back.
Your
I said,
Honor.
shh, shh, shh. I said I wasn't gonna pay her back because it wasn't my fault or my dog's fault. They leave the gate open and their dog unattended.
I want to tell you something. I do not believe you.
Why not?
I don't answer questions. I get answers to questions, and then I have to say to myself, these two people, they were going to work at 4:30 in the morning. You were out at the same hour. Do you work at that hour?
I was about to go to work too. That's what I was taking my dog out.
There are other adults in the house.
Yes, I have 2 more.
Okay. They were all sleeping at 4:30 in the morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you opened your door, and you have to understand, sir, I am particularly unabashedly sensitive to pit bulls who are unleashed or not watched. Your dog is 4 years old. I don't know. I assume you have had no prior incident with your dog.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
That's not true.
We'll get to it. Last article, I keep them in my desk drawer, about pit bulls was a baby, a 3-month-old baby, left alone for a second with a pit bull. The pit bull gnawed off his hands. That was last week. So You have to understand that I'm particularly sensitive to a large animal that's capable of causing serious injury, being unattended for a second. You answered my question very quickly whether your dog Max had had any prior incidents. You said no. Plaintiff seems to say that that's not true. Now, she's going to tell me about a prior incident unless you want to tell me about it first.
I never noticed or nothing. Nobody informed me about another accident or nothing.
Your answer is you don't know about a prior incident with your dog.
Yes, I don't.
Is that
know
right?
about it. Yeah.
Why don't you tell me what you know?
First things first, I have an animal control report that proves his statement of his leashed dog incorrect.
May I see it, please?
This is the second attack.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
Well, this recites your version of the events.
Correct.
And the report indicates you're Reuben, is that correct?
Yes.
That you ran out to the scene to try to separate your dogs. Did you speak to animal control?
Yes, I did.
You spoke to them on what date?
2 days after.
May 1st.
Yes.
So you spoke to them?
Yes.
Then this write-up incorporates what you told them, which is consistent with what Ms. Galvin testified to, sir. Okay, I don't know where you are showing me that this was not the first instance.
So the first instance was about a little bit over a year ago where his dog attacked my dog and he didn't break skin. So animal control refused to create an actual incident report.
Tell me when that was. That was about a year ago.
Yes, so it was actually my mother who was walking my dog. I was out of state at the time. I have a witness statement if that helps for anything. But my mother was walking the dog where his dog was...
You were not there?
No, but...
Then I can't take that evidence because it's hearsay.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay, I understand. The second attack was on a 10-year-old German Shepherd walking in front of our house, walking on a leash by his owner. And again, the dog was out loose, without a leash or collar, where he attacked the German Shepherd.
Was that within the year?
In late January, yeah.
Late January of
Correct.
this year?
Only 5-6 months ago.
Did you observe that?
I did. I assisted in separating and keeping the German Shepherd safe.
Who came out of the Alonso house to retrieve their dog? Was it Mr. Alonso or his son or one of the other children?
I think it was his younger daughter.
What's your younger daughter's name?
No, I got two. They're twins. So I don't know which one she's talking about. Because I never...
Well, you know them both, right?
Yeah, I know them both.
Just a second. Listen to me carefully.
Okay.
You know them both. Mr. Alonso, I don't want you to play with me.
I'm not playing with you, Your Honor.
So there's no question that if anything happened with a German Shepherd and one of your twins, who were not babies, came out and retrieved your dog, they would have told you about it.
I haven't heard nothing from that.
Really?
He was involved, Your Honor.
What?
I spoke to him about the situation just days after the last incident with him. I brought the German Shepherd and the owner, and
Where's the proof?
Now it's documented that your dog has attacked at least once. And if you let that dog or any of your other dogs out, they're going to take that dog and destroy it. You do know that.
Yes, we do.
And that will be your fault.
Grecia and Juan Galvan have accused their neighbor, Ruben Alonso, of owing for vet bills after his dog attacked their dog. Ruben claims their dog was off leash and started the fight.
Just a second.
he said, "Your dog barks a lot. That's why my dog attacked him." Your Honor, if my dog knew how to talk, we wouldn't be here.
Just a second. When you say that after this attack on your dog, the serious one,
correct, yeah,
you brought the German Shepherd. Whose German Shepherd was it?
Somebody that lives in our community.
And the owner?
Yes.
To see Mr. Alonso?
Correct, because Mr. Alonso said that my dog was barking too much, and that's why Max attacked him.
Okay, so now you bring the German Shepherd. Your dog, Yogi, is at the vet.
No, this is a few days post-op. My dog was recovering inside, indoors.
Okay, so your dog is indoors, but wasn't with you when you went to confront Mr. Alonso with the German Shepherd?
Yes.
And the owner of the German Shepherd?
Correct.
Okay, and can you tell me what Mr. Alonso said during that confrontation about the German Shepherd? Not your dog. What did he say about the German Shepherd?
Nothing. His demeanor was very aggressive. He turned, he was up putting on some cameras in his home. He turned, did not say a word, and turned back around. And his son was there as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Stand up. Over there, please. Your first name?
Jason.
Jason. Do you remember Miss Galvin coming to the house? Your father was there. She was there with a German Shepherd and its owner. That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. Were you close enough to hear the conversation? That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
Did you hear the conversation about your dog at some point having a confrontation with the German Shepherd?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Tell me what you heard.
The plaintiff ended up bringing the owner of the dog over, and he...
The owner of the Shepherd?
Yeah, the owner of the Shepherd. And he said he didn't want to start no problems or nothing.
He didn't want to?
He didn't want to start any problems.
Who said? The owner of the Shepherd?
The owner of the Shepherd.
The owner of the Shepherd said, I don't...
It was an accident and stuff happens, and he didn't want no problem with this.
I want to know, before he said that, what was said about Max attacking the Shepherd?
The plaintiff was claiming that...
Plaintiff said
that Max bit the German Shepherd.
Okay. And the German Shepherd and the German Shepherd's owner was there.
Correct.
What did your father say?
He was just quiet during the instance.
Just a second. So he said nothing.
Correct.
Did you say anything?
At the current moment, I was actually holding the ladder stand because he was on a 10-foot ladder installing cameras. That is very unsafe for me to try to tell him anything.
Just a second. Did he come down from the cameras?
He was still installing the cameras as they came up.
Well, now there are two people there. One person there with a dog that he knows has been seriously injured by his dog, and a German Shepherd who I'm absolutely positive that one of your sisters discussed with him had an incident some months before. Don't say no, because I have to tell you something. You lied to me once. You lied to me once, sir.
That accident wasn't nobody said nothing to me about it. That's why I didn't talk to the guy, because I don't know if she...
Well, you talked to her. What I'm telling you, Mr. Alonso, is you lied to me once. I believe nothing else. Certain things are common sense. I have children. I've had dogs. If one of my dogs was involved in an incident, and I was involved in separating them, and I was involved in making the situation better, when my parent came home from work, I would say, let me tell you what happened. And they would tell you. Or they would tell their older brother what happened. And the older brother might tell you. But somebody would tell you.
It wasn't brought to my attention.
Wasn't brought to your attention. I'm going to bring something to your attention. Do you have homeowners insurance? Do you own your house?
I don't own a house. I rent the house.
You rent the house. Do you have renter's insurance?
Yes.
Does the renter's insurance that you have know that you have not a French bulldog? Because that's what it says here. Somebody identified your dog as a French bulldog. French bulldog is different from a bully.
I have a license that says it's not even a pit bull. It's an American bully.
It's classified in its own.
I actually know what an American bully is. It's not a French bulldog. Do you have a French bulldog?
We do not.
Your Honor, he has 3 in his garage at the time. And sometimes when he illegally breeds, he has 7 or 8 at a time.
It's not illegal.
Not true.
We got papers to prove that.
We're licensed breeders, Your Honor. All of our dogs are purple ribbon UKC show dogs.
That doesn't make this dog any less vicious.
Correct.
Do you understand?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Dog caused serious injury, and either your father is just in a total state of denial or he hasn't been introduced to the truth. I don't know which one it is. Either way, I'm entering a judgment for them for the full amount of their vet bills. Now it's documented that your dog has attacked at least once. And if you let that dog or any of your other dogs out, they're going to take that dog and destroy it. You do know that.
Yes, we do.
And that will be your fault because you're the owner and the responsible person to make sure that a dog that is capable of serious physical injury doesn't injure a person or another animal. That's your responsibility and any other adult who lives in the house. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $6,500. We're done. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Taking the decision was bad. I mean, they tried to consider my dog a pit bull. He's not a pit bull.
She was just, she followed the truth, and that's all we could have asked for.
Their dog got out and started biting my dog, so my dog defended himself.
Mentira, porque él nunca lo miré, el perro apareció de repente sin collar, sin correa, y fue cuando nos empezó a tocar al perro y a mí.
It's a lie. He came and there was never a leash, neither a collar. And that's when the dog started attacking the dog and myself.
Probably set up another fence in front of our yard, probably establish something a little bit more secure than what we have now.
I've had him for more than half my life. I mean, that's my companion, my bud, my best friend, and to see him in pain for like weeks after was even equally as traumatic as the incident itself.
I definitely would say it'd be avoided. We will be taking precautions going forward, make sure this doesn't happen again.
The truth always comes to light.
I always say if you choose to get a breed of dog, that's your choice. And if the dog, for some reason, and dogs can go off, attacks you, you're a grown-up, you've made a conscious choice. But when you bring a dog that has the potential of causing serious physical injury or death into a house with young children, I actually think that should be an absolute liability for people who do know that certain dogs have the capacity to maim. And despite that, they choose that dog and bring a dog into a house with toddlers and infants. I just think that's so irresponsible. I have a drawer full of those.
I have seen it. I know you too.
Of those cases that just are heartbreaking.
Mario Corielli is suing his ex-fiancée, Deidre Ann Weiser, for stolen property and unauthorized credit card charges.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3062, Corielli versus Weiser.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Corielli, you and the defendant met in 2020?
Yes.
She was living in Ohio with her son, correct?
Yes.
She was a young teenager.
14.
And after you met, you decided that it would be right for the two of you if Miss Weiser and her son moved in with you, relocated to the state of Florida.
Yes.
And when did that take place?
I believe after we met, within 3 or 4 months, she moved down to Florida.
What month and year would that be?
It had to be before school year. Could be the September, when the school started.
When did school start?
September,
Sometimes August, sometimes
2020,
September. Do you remember when you moved?
We were during a pandemic year, 2020. So I believe it was by the fall of the 2020.
Is that right?
August of 2021.
Oh, I missed a year.
August of 2021.
Correct.
And when did you leave the house? When did you leave?
Ohio or
Florida?
I left Florida March 12th of 2023.
How did you get from Ohio to Florida?
My son and I flew on a plane to Florida.
Did you have a residence in Ohio?
Yes.
What did you do with that residence?
I kept that residence.
And you returned to that house?
I have returned to the house numerous occasions for holidays and things.
But when you left the house ultimately in March of 2023, you went back to that house?
No, I stayed in Florida.
Oh, you decided to relocate?
Correct. I had already changed my residency to Florida, and I have a nursing license in Florida as well, so I was choosing to stay in Florida.
Okay. And when you left in March, where did you go?
So I went to a friend's place that offered me and my son a room at his home.
And how long did you stay there?
I'm still there.
And is this the friend that you met while you were living with the plaintiff?
Correct. He left on Sunday to go to Maryland.
No. This is a friend that you met while you were living with
Correct.
The plaintiff, a male friend.
Yes.
So you've been living with him for approximately 6 months.
Correct.
In what kind of place?
A condo.
Now, from August until March, when you left, what kind of work were you doing?
I was working, when I moved to Florida, I worked with Mario in several of his businesses. So he had a bar on Marco Island, Mario's Neighborhood Bar and Grill. I managed it, cleaned it, shopped for the bar. And then I also did some sales tax and things for his building supply. So I was working with him.
Were you paid a salary?
Yes.
Were you on the books paid a salary?
I would assume so. I just received a check.
You got a check?
Yes.
Okay. Every week, every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks.
And what was the check?
$1,100 and some change.
Did you have a car?
Yes, I had a Jeep.
Did you have that shipped or did you buy it?
I bought the Jeep.
In Florida?
Correct.
Was it new or used?
New.
Did you buy it?
Your Honor, Okay, I'm sorry.
Did you buy it for cash or do you have a loan on it?
I do have a loan on it, and he was making the car payments.
Who put down the down payment?
I believe Mario did.
Who paid for the insurance?
Mario did.
In whose name is the car titled?
Me.
Yours.
Future advisor, yes.
Who pays for the insurance now?
I do, and my fiance does.
Oh, so the person that you're living with now is a fiance?
Correct.
Okay, so you pay for it?
Yeah.
Mario does not?
Correct.
And who pays for the car note?
He does, my fiance.
And what kind of work are you doing now?
I did have a nursing job, but because of the type of career that he has, we travel. So I am working with him.
So you're not working?
Correct.
Which is why he's paying those bills?
Correct.
Sort of like Mario was doing when you lived with him?
Correct.
This is what your case is about, sir. You claim that you went away on business, I assume, for a few days. And when you came home, the defendant was gone. And she took with her several items that belonged to you, which you want back, and that she also charged an expensive bag on your credit card, which she had no authority to do. Those are the things that you want. Is that right?
Yes.
So you want to tell me, Ms. Weiser, what items you took from the home when you left? You acknowledge you took some items from the home, and I get the sense from your answer that you did not purchase those items. He did, but they were extra items. At least some of them were extra items that he has no use for, that he had maybe duplicates of. So I'd like you to tell me what you took.
Absolutely. So when I moved here, I left my job as a nurse.
I don't want a whole story.
Okay.
I want to know what it is you took.
Bed linens.
When you left. Bed linens.
Set of towels.
Bed linens. How many sets of bed linens?
One king set.
So far, is that correct?
Yes.
What else did you take?
Set of towels.
Set of towels. Bath.
Yes. So a washcloth.
Just
hand
one
towel.
set.
So it was a total of 3 sets. So 3 towels, 3 washcloths.
Okay, so you took 3 sets of towels.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
What else did you take?
I took a set of silverware.
Set of silverware. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What else?
A toaster.
Correct?
Correct.
And a pizza pan.
Yes? What else?
I believe that's it.
Anything else that she took?
Well, she took a lot of the stuff that she actually bought for decorating the condo.
Oh,
in the house.
just a second. That she bought?
With my credit card.
Are you telling me the toaster oven had not been used?
Never been used.
Is that correct?
It's brand new item bought for the condo. They're all in a box. Everything got stolen at the same time.
So you just took these brand new items and took them with you?
Correct.
You can't do that.
Mario Corielli claims his ex-fiancée, Deidre Ann Weiser, stole expensive belongings when she moved out.
Okay. Give me an example other than these things.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Well, I'm kind of really all over the map right now. Because
I don't want you to be all over the map. I have limited time, less patience. What else did she take?
Okay, she took a lot of stuff in there, which I have no way for me to identify what they are. I only think I have like a credit card statements that tells how many times she purchased an item, which I'm not aware of.
I'm not getting involved with that, sir.
I'm not aware of.
Okay.
One of the main thing that she bought, which I never authorized that, was a Gucci bag.
Okay.
Okay?
Just a second. How much was the Gucci bag?
The Gucci bag was $2,200.
When was it purchased?
It was purchased, let me see, January 6, 2023. And 2 weeks prior, I spent $30,000 for an engagement ring. So why do you need a Gucci bag?
Just a second.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Mr. Curiel, the defendant left in March.
Correct.
March what?
23.
I left March 13th was the date that I actually...
So you would have received, sir, the bill from the pocketbook in February, the latest, the beginning of March, when she was still there.
Correct.
Did you have a conversation with her?
Yes, I did.
Just a second. When she was there, did you have a conversation with her about the Gucci bag?
After she bought the Gucci bag,
Yes, and you got the bill.
I said, why did you buy the Gucci bag?
Just a second.
Go ahead.
You weren't with her when she purchased it?
No.
Okay. Were you aware the date that she purchased it in January that she had purchased it?
No.
No. When the first time was it that you became aware that she purchased it?
When I received the statement.
The statement.
A month
Fine.
later.
Fine. So that was within 4 weeks. Then you had a conversation with her.
That's correct.
Okay. Just about the Gucci bag.
Just about the Gucci bag.
Okay, tell me what the conversation was.
The conversation was, I cannot believe you go ahead and spend another $2,200 for a Gucci bag when I spent $30,000 off your engagement ring right around Christmas time. We just got engaged 2 days before Christmas. And then she went on a shopping spree to buy all the other nicks and necks, which I had no idea of.
Okay.
Until I received the statements on my hands.
We're talking about the Gucci bag.
Right.
Okay, and what was her response to you?
Her response to me says, I thought there was anything about that. I just did it. That's what her response was. Not that anything says I'm sorry or whatever.
Gucci bag, let's go.
So I have evidence here of the date that I had texted him and asked him if I could get the Gucci bag. Christmas Day, I had bought him like 25 gifts. He opened, and he bought me nothing. And so we were.
When did he give you the engagement ring?
He gave me the engagement ring December 22nd.
Okay, well, that's a couple of days before Christmas. What happened to the ring, by the way?
I returned that to him.
Good. Okay, can I see the texts that you have?
Yes.
Well, you told him you were going to buy it. I don't see where he said it was okay.
Correct. He didn't respond. And then I went into the building supply. I was still working for him and asked him. And he said, if that's really what you want? And I said, yes. And so he didn't respond in the text message, but he did respond when I went to the building supply. And when it was delivered, which was January 11th, I actually took the box that it came in, plus it was beautifully wrapped, and opened it in the building supply in front of him. And he even joked around with some of the bar staff, because I was still managing it, that I had bought it. So I did open it in front of him at the building supply, and he did joke about it quite a bit.
That is not true, Your Honor. Okay. None at all.
Well, Mr. Curio, you had several options because she did open it in front of you.
She did not.
She did not. So you're saying you did not know about this bag.
And I still don't know now.
Well, you know about it now. Now you got a bill for it.
I know the bill, but I don't see the bag. I don't even know what a bag looks like.
Well, no, you got to text her what the bag.
Ma'am.
No, listen
Your Honor,
to me. Listen
the bag that you show today is $1,100. This bag is almost $2,200.
It doesn't say a price on it.
Okay.
The bag that she texted you.
I never saw that bag.
Okay.
Never.
Good. I have another question. Ms. Weiser, this whole transaction took place in January. You moved out with your son in March, and you moved into a home with a man who is now your fiancé.
Correct.
Okay. I'd like to know when you met him.
Mario left March 12th for Maryland to get some equipment that he had. I met him March 12th on the island at a country concert. He was made aware of my situation at that time. He had just moved into a condo, had 2 spare bedrooms. I had been seeking shelter, women's shelter, at the time. And
I asked you a question. So, because I see from the complaint and answer that there was some issue with your comings and goings and him.
Correct.
You would go out with friends and stay out late, and he didn't like that. And actually, according to you, and he doesn't deny that, he said, I want you home by 11:30.
Correct. I got a curfew.
Well, depends upon how often you're out. Until 11:30.
My son was in Ohio on spring break at the time, so I did take the opportunity, and we were not getting along, to go out with friends on the island. And also, Mario was out late because he does own a bar. Last calls at 1, closed by 2. The bartenders usually got out around 3. So he came in at very late hours himself. So yes, I did take the opportunity to go out when my son was on spring break.
Okay. Now, the plaintiff gave you a credit card at some point in your relationship. When was that? That was after you moved to Florida, right after you moved to Florida?
Yes, because I was also purchasing our home groceries on that. I purchased the bar supplies.
So you purchased the bed linens?
Correct.
You purchased the set of towels?
Correct.
You purchased the silverware?
Correct.
You purchased the toaster?
Yes.
And you purchased the pizza pan?
Yes.
But you took with you, correct?
Correct.
And the bag, all on his credit card?
Correct.
And is it accurate that based upon these items, most of them, as opposed to the Gucci bag, would be considered necessaries.
Yes.
And was that the condition upon which he gave you the credit card? Because if it was not, then you wouldn't have asked him permission to buy the bag. Do you want me to say goodbye to you?
No.
Then I want you to look
Okay.
at your bills and tell me what the bed linens were.
I'm a man. I never bought sheets before. I never bought linen before. I never bought towels before.
Mario Corielli has accused his ex-fiancée, Deidre Ann Weiser, of stealing his personal property.
Was that the condition upon which he gave you the credit card?
Correct. He had asked me to get things for the condo that he purchased for all of us to live in.
Right. But it would be accurate that because you didn't have permission to buy luxury items for yourself on this credit card, you asked him permission to buy it. Well, there's nothing here that demonstrates to me that he gave you permission to buy that luxury item. There's also nothing to suggest that you had the right to take the bed linens, set of sheets, silverware, toaster, or pizza pan. You had no right to take those things. And you took those things in March of this year.
Correct.
Okay. Do you want them back?
I think she used them already with the new.
She used them before. She used them before in your.
They were never used. They were still in the box. They're still in the bags. It's a brand new item.
Just a second. Don't speak, sir. Are you telling me the toaster oven had not been used?
Never been used.
Is that correct?
It's a brand new item bought for the condo. They're all in the box. Everything got stolen at the same time.
So you just took these brand new items and took them with you?
Correct.
You can't do that.
He called the cops on me and tried to have me removed. While my son was gone, he actually locked me out of our home for 2 years. And I had to lift the garage, which I have a picture of, and then the very next night called the cops because he didn't want me in our home. And that's why I had to immediately get out.
That doesn't mean you take items that don't belong to. Just
go ahead. I would like to.
No, if it doesn't appear as if you're losing, why do you want to contribute to anything?
I was going to mention something else. Go ahead. Sorry, Your Honor.
Perfect. Because you're moving out doesn't mean you're permitted to take things that don't belong to you, that you didn't pay for. It also didn't give you license. He didn't give you license to buy this luxury item. I mean, I think it's unfortunate. I think that the plaintiff is more angry about the situation than he is about these items, but he has a legitimate complaint. And so, sir, what I want you to do is add up the items, and I'm going to give you a very short time to do that. When I say a short time, I mean like a minute.
8,000.
No. Add up the following items.
Oh, following item. Go ahead.
Bed linens, 3 sets of towels, the silverware, the toaster, and the pizza pan, plus $2,200 for a Gucci bag.
All linen.
That's it.
Okay. All linen, but $2,500. The Gucci bag, $2,200. Towels and all accessory, another $2,000.
Just a second.
So the total is $7,500.
Do you want me to say goodbye to you?
No.
Then I want you to look at your bills and tell me what the bed linens were, what the set of towels were, times 3, silverware, toaster, and pizza pan. Make a check mark and add up those things.
Your Honor, I'm a man. I never bought sheets before. I never bought linen before. I never bought towels before. So all of the receipts that I have, I highlights in here, that shows all the items that she purchased.
Did you understand what I just said to you?
Yeah.
What I just said to you was, you're going to be reimbursed for those items.
Yeah.
Add up those items. If there's anything else on your list that is not in the items that I just mentioned, bed linens, towels, silverware, toaster, and pizza pan, I'm discarding all of those items and I'm just going to reimburse you for the pocketbook. Do you understand?
Okay, the linen.
Perfect. Linens. How much?
$1,500 for the linen.
Show me.
Because
show me. Show me.
Honestly, Your Honor, okay, I'm not
prepared. Then I'll give you time.
Prepared for me.
Then I'll give you time.
To show you the linen in the towels because they're all on the Amazon here.
Then you're not prepared for this case. I'm not giving you.
Well, I can give you the highlight that shows here what was taken.
The only thing that I'm reimbursing you for were the bed linens, 3 sets of towels, silverware, toaster, and a pizza pan. And if you can't identify how much those things cost, which was part. Listen, I don't live with you, sir, and you don't support me. So you got to listen. That's part of your proof, not what she purchased. She had your permission to purchase a lot of things, everything that wasn't an essential. She did not have permission to take those things. If you can identify those things and tell me how much they cost, I will reimburse you for those things because they were in boxes, which she acknowledges, and I assume now have been used, correct?
Correct.
If you cannot tell me how much they cost, I'll issue a judgment in your favor for $2,200 for the Gucci bag. Do we understand each other? Don't say a word. That's my ruling. Now you have 1 minute to either identify those things or say, I can't. That's your burden of proof, sir. It's not mine.
Besides the linen, she utilized Venmo. I don't even know what Venmo is.
$2,200, judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Maybe it's fair, but this was all part of control for him.
Hey, no, that is not true at all. She's nothing more than a pathological liar.
I'm happy to, do what she asks and pay him back for the bag that was purchased, but he did know about it and he did agree to it.
The financial and the heart. The reason why, because I cared for the kid. I cared for her more than anybody ever cared for her ever again.
It's sad, but now we get to move on.
Also, we are men. I don't want to say it on TV, but we'll be very gullible.
It was a great Gucci bag, but shoot, if he wants it, he can have it too. I don't care.
I felt a little bad for that plaintiff. I mean, he proposed right before Christmas, and by his account, February, her account, March, she was seeing someone else and moved out and got engaged 6 weeks later to someone new after seemingly making her life very comfortable, giving her a credit card, a house, a car, saying go buy things to make a house a home. So I understand why he's bitter, but you still have to come with receipts, even if you're a man who's never bought linens before.
He was very generous. From the paperwork, he is 25 years her senior. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that works out.
Sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes not. He'll be smarter the next time.
Hopefully.
Samantha Rojo and Gabriel Fate are suing their former landlord, Amber Richardson, for a security deposit, harassment, and filing a false restraining order.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3059, Rojo Fate versus Richardson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Rojo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Boyfriend, fiance?
Hopefully fiance, just boyfriend.
Boyfriend. And you were living together and leased a home with your children. Are they his children?
We have a blended family, 2 each.
Okay. So 4 children, the 2 of you leased a home from the defendant.
That's correct.
You're her husband.
Yes.
It was a home that they had recently purchased with the intention of living there. Did you ever live in the home?
Yeah, a couple of months.
Okay. And then work took them away, and they hired a management company to find tenants for the house. In what month and year did you lease the house?
We moved in November 1st, 2021. We had signed our lease in October.
And it was a year lease?
It was 6 months.
Terminating when?
April 30th, 2022.
You were notified by the management company that the Richardsons were moving back into their house and would not be extending your lease.
Yep.
Now, after you were given notice by the management company, you called Mr. Richardson.
I did, yes.
I want you to tell me why you called him.
The school year was nearing its end, and so I was just wondering if there was any way to extend it just another month or maybe even a couple of weeks just to get to the end of the school year. And when he said no, they were moving back in, that was the end of our communication.
Did he explain why to you?
He said, in his words, his wife was a tough sell, and she said that we couldn't extend the lease. And so that was the end of our communication.
Stand up, sir. Your last name is Richardson?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember the conversation
Yes, I
that
do.
you had with Mr. Rojo? Tell me what he said to you, what you said to him.
He expressed a desire to extend the lease,
He said to you, I'd like to extend the lease. My kids are going to school. Could we extend it
absolutely.
a few weeks until after the school year?
Yes, and dad to dad, I totally understand. I expressed to him that...
No, what did you say to him?
I told him that,
Look at me.
I didn't initially see a problem with that initially. However, the reason we are moving...
Just a second. When he said that to you, you understood.
Yes, yes.
Did you say to him, I'll speak to my wife and call you back?
Yes, I have to talk to my wife.
Just a second. What you said was, I understand your problem. I have to talk to my wife. How did I know that? I have a crystal ball in my head because things make sense to me, Mr. Richardson, because you knew that you couldn't make that judgment on your own.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have children?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many?
4.
Now, where you had relocated, your children were in school.
Yes, Your Honor.
So moving back May 1st also required you taking your children out of school.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, why would you do that? No, don't ask her. Don't ask her. You're allowed to hear.
Yeah.
Listen to me, Mr. Richardson. Here, you're allowed to speak. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great.
Only one of my children out of the 4 was enjoying their school.
It's still taking them out a month before school starts.
Absolutely. It wasn't something I'd like to do, but I had a job in Minnesota that started May 9th.
Okay, so now we're going to go back. So you say to Mr. Fate, listen, that question is above my pay grade.
Yes, Your Honor.
I have to speak to my wife.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sounds right. And did you speak to your wife?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
What was her response?
She wanted to move as soon as possible.
Got it. Okay. So he called you back and said, my wife's a tough sell.
Correct.
Okay. Your case is about 2 things. First, a return of your security deposit, and then harassment and filing a false restraining order against you. So now you move out on April 30th or May 1st?
April 30th.
And how much of a security deposit did you put down on the house?
When we moved in, we paid $2,400.
Did you get any part of it back?
No, they noted that we would, but we did not.
Just a second. They noted that you would where?
When we got our disposition letter from the rental company, there was an amount noted that we were going to receive.
May I see it, please?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so they list a whole bunch of things that were problematic. Something in there supposed to refund $340 of your $2,400. Is that right?
That's correct.
Did you receive the $340.88?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so now what you're going to show me, Miss Richardson, is move-out charges, thermal fogging of garage to remove dog odor.
Yep.
$199. Let's go.
Hold on. There's so much stuff.
By the way, do you have a move-in report when you moved into the house? I'd like to see it.
There, thank you.
So far, I'm looking at all these pictures. Now, these pictures were the way you found the place moved in or out?
In.
In. So these pictures coincide with the move-in.
Correct.
For instance, I'm looking at this, Miss Richardson, and one of the things that you complain about is that they painted a wall blue in the master bedroom.
Yes.
Okay, well, the wall was blue.
Okay, I bought my house this color. I never gave permission for any modifications of my house.
Who cares?
And then they painted it this ugly color.
Who cares? You had to paint this anyway. It was all, there were holes in the walls.
She was pointing, flipping me off, screaming, like leaned over the driver and then grabbed the wheel, went like this, and I had to swerve because she put the wheel that way.
That's a lie.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you how I know that's a lie.
Samantha Rojo and Gabriel Fate claim their former landlord, Amber Richardson, owes for her security deposit and filing a false restraining order. Amber is countersuing for harassment and child endangerment.
Now, are you allowed to have dogs? Don't. Were you allowed to have dogs in your lease?
I believe we could have, yes.
What do you mean you believe? What does the lease say?
But the dogs were not in our lease at the time it was signed.
Was it asked whether you had pets?
No one asked us.
Does the lease ask whether there are pets?
It does note 0 pets, yes.
So it says there are 0 pets. Right. How many pets did you have?
We had 2 dogs in the house.
Well, that's wrong.
Yeah, it was.
Well, that's wrong. And they say that there were urine stains all over the carpet.
No, that's.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
In the closet, this says.
If I may give you just this one text from Keith stating the urine smell in the home, and they asked us to clean the carpet before we moved in. That's.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see that.
That's a text message to me
before
prior
moving
to
in.
us moving in.
Okay. Mr. Richardson, what were you going to have your wife take care of in the carpet?
I just wanted my wife to actually clean the carpet.
No. What was wrong with the carpets?
I wanted the carpet cleaned. Nothing was wrong with the carpet.
How many dogs did you have in the 2 months that you were living there?
I have 2.
It's not an answer. 2.
I have 2.
2 is the answer.
Right.
Okay, sit down. Okay. I'm going to deal with the security deposit in a moment. I want you to tell me, after you moved out, there was an incident between the 2 of you and Mrs. Richardson. I want you to tell me your version of that.
Sure. So it was May 26th when the incident happened. So a little under a month after we vacated their home. We were picking up children in our little town. There's only 1 gas station and 1 restaurant. We pulled into the gas station. I got out of the passenger side of the van, and a vehicle whipped into the spot next to us. It was a white Tahoe that apparently belongs to the defendant. She was screaming at me, saying that I had done something I didn't do.
No, I want you to tell me what she said to you.
She said I flipped her off. She knew who I was, which was frightening. I'd never met her.
Flipped her off when?
She states that she saw my vehicle and that I reached over Gabe and flipped her off driving on the road. But I don't know her and I've never met her, so I don't know how that's possible.
Okay, and?
And that was the reason that she followed us to Quick Trip to start an incident.
So what happened?
Yeah, she called me fat and told me that I knew exactly who she was. She was yelling about me flipping her off. She said, yes, you rented my house. I know who you are. And she just kept saying my name. And that's when I got out my phone and started recording.
Do you have that recording? I'd like to hear.
I didn't get very much of it, but just have to press play.
Who you are or what you're talking about. I do not know who you are or why you're harassing me right now. Who you are or what you're talking about. I do not know who you are or why you're harassing me right now.
What happened after you had that confrontation with her?
She left. When I started recording, I then called the police. Obviously, I was upset and crying. My children were in the car. I was embarrassed for her that her children were in her own vehicle as she was chasing people down. I called the police and made the report. I do have a copy.
You have a police report. I'd like to see it.
Thank you.
See, Miss Richardson, this is your problem. If I were driving in my car with my young children and someone forced me off the road, that's a situation where your car can be flipped over, your children can be injured, and that would be the first thing that I would tell a police officer. Now, the police were called, they spoke to Miss Rojo, and then they came to find you. I'm going to read you exactly what the police officer said. I left Quick Trip and drove to the house location. As I was driving past the house, I observed a female sitting in front of the house and she waved me over to speak. Richardson was on the phone with dispatch as I arrived. Richardson hung up the phone and I asked her what took place. What did you tell the police officer that took place? Now, this just happened, Miss Richardson. Pay careful attention. It just happened.
So what happened was...
No, I didn't ask you what happened. I asked you what you told the police officer.
What I told the police officer is that my children and I were coming back from in town. And
no, you didn't tell him that at all. You and your children were in the car. That's what you told him.
Yes.
Okay, and?
We were in the car heading home, and in the opposite direction, my youngest daughter noticed Miss Rojo's vehicle. And
they were traveling in the opposite direction.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
And right then, I noticed she was in the passenger side and Mr. Fate was driving. And she was pointing, flipping me off, screaming, like leaned over the driver and threw her middle finger up against the driver window, screaming, and then grabbed the wheel at me, grabbed the wheel, went like this, and I had to swerve because she put the wheel that way.
That's a lie.
Okay.
That you're making up as, not only as you're standing here, but when you filed your answer and your counterclaim, because that's a lie. And I'm going to tell you how I know that's a lie. Because that would be a terrible, you can stand up with her, because that would be a terrible thing that happened. Because what you say in your answer and your counterclaim is that she forced you off the road. That's what you say in your counterclaim. But moments after this incident, when you spoke to the police, you mentioned nothing about that.
I did.
No, nothing. All you told the police was she flipped you off. That's what you told the police. I'm going to read it to you because that he would have put, because that's reckless. That's terrible. Someone going and forcing you off the road with children in the car, that's dangerous. She could be arrested for that. But that's not what you told the police officer. This is what you told the police officer. You ready? If somebody almost killed me and my children, that would be something that I would tell the police right off the bat.
He wouldn't make a report because there was no physical...
That's baloney.
He wouldn't do it.
That's baloney.
Samantha Rojo and Gabriel Fate have accused their former landlord, Amber Richardson, of refusing to return their security deposit and filing a false restraining order. Amber is countersuing for harassment and child endangerment.
I asked her what took place. She told me that she was driving along when she noticed a minivan in the opposite direction. She observed the female passenger lean over and begin to flip her off as they passed each other. Richardson said that she and her kids were in the car and it made her upset. She turned around and pulled into the Quick Trip lot shortly behind them and confronted them about the incident. It doesn't say anything about being forced off the road. It doesn't say anything about swerving. All it says was that somebody made a nasty gesture to you. That's what it says. But if somebody almost killed me and my children, that would be something that I would tell the police right off the bat.
He wouldn't make a report because there was no physical...
That's baloney.
He wouldn't do it.
That's baloney. I don't believe you.
I even asked for a restraining order. And
but I don't. Listen to me.
Physically do something.
I don't believe that she attempted to run you off the road. I believe she was disrespectful in flipping you off. There's no question in my mind because you don't look like an idiot. And if somebody attempted to kill me and my children by forcing them off the road, that would be the first thing that I would tell a police officer. Not that she flipped me off, so I turned around and confronted her about it. So that's how I know that it didn't happen.
It did happen.
Well, I have to make that judgment. I say it didn't happen because if it happened, it would have been the first thing that you told the police moments after this incident occurred.
I even said it
and
on
you didn't.
dispatch.
And you
I was
didn't.
on the phone with 911.
Just a
waiting
second.
for an officer.
Just a second. If you have a 911 call that talks about being pushed off the road with your 4 children in the car, I would like to hear it or see it. Do you have it?
I did not.
The answer is no.
One because I did not.
No.
Get a hold of dispatch.
Your counterclaim's dismissed. Now, you filed a restraining order. Was the restraining order granted or not?
Yes.
Can I see the restraining order?
This is the original petition.
Did you go to court and have a hearing?
I contested it, yes.
Yeah, in your answer, that's what you say. She then took control of the wheel and forced me off the road. I was forced into a ditch. You keep making things up. You keep making up stories as you go along.
No, I had someone from the courthouse help me fill that out because I.
Blah, 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 blah,
There's
blah.
no
I don't. Let me
stuttering
tell-
on that one.
Let me explain something to you. I don't believe that she tried to force you off the road. In any event, your counterclaim's dismissed. I don't believe you. Now I'd like to see your photographs of what you allege counts for $2,400 in security deposit.
Still the photos.
I'm not interested in the floors. The floors were dirty when they moved in. Do you want to tell me what this is a picture of? You want?
Oh, that was just evidence that they had a dog in there and violated the lease agreement.
Okay.
I have a lot more pictures of photo and urine in the move out.
I'm looking for photographs of the damage so far. What is this? A garbage can full of stuff? What is it?
Yeah, that was what we pulled out of the.
Pulled out of
a lot of the cleaning. I had to go take that trash can to the landfill.
Oh, terrible.
Okay.
So there are spots on the lawn here that are clearly urine spots. Is that what you're showing me?
Yes, I have more actually.
Yeah, well, you had 2 dogs when you lived there for 2 months.
Tiny chihuahuas, ma'am, yes.
I don't care. I have Shih Tzus. They make the same brown spot.
My
What
dogs
difference it
don't
makes?
go out on the lawn. They go out on leashes on the sidewalk only because they're small and they're not from the city, so we don't let them run around freely in the backyard.
Okay. I actually believe that the restraining order that you filed against her was nonsense. You staying out of each other's way?
Yes. I try to avoid her at all, but she goes in my neighborhood, so I have to try to make sure that I get up super early if I have to leave, because she stated multiple times throughout the hearing that she, in fact, goes through my neighborhood more than 3 times a day.
So
she doesn't live in my town. She doesn't live in my neighborhood. There's no reason for her to even drive past my house. At the other end of my neighborhood, where she can easily access through and go through instead of going all the way.
She doesn't have to avoid you, madam. You lied.
I did not lie.
Yes, madam,
No,
you did.
I did not.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you that in my judgment, after reading this police report, common sense dictates, after reading this report, that the first thing that you say to the police is, she tried to kill me and my children by running me off the road. And you said absolutely nothing.
Never even wrote
You said
down
absolutely
anything.
nothing.
He said he
She
was
gets her
gonna
whole
talk to
security
Samantha
deposit
and tell
back.
her
Judgment
to
for the
stop.
plaintiff in the amount of $2,400. We're finished. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
She thinks that she can just do whatever she wants, and don't care.
It wasn't only frightening, it was embarrassing, and we live in a small town, so the way to go about conflict is not to chase it down, I would think.
She can, harass me. She can try to run me off the road with my kids in the car and not, care.
I have children, that's not the kind of person I am.
The fact that she doesn't have my forever home, as she put it.
We rented a house. We didn't know if we'd be there 6 months or forever, but does anyone ever want to move? I mean, things get said, and so, yeah, I could never be jealous of her.
It is what it is.
Yeah, leave people alone and don't steal.
Father's rights matter.
So my dad always told me one of the ways that he used his truth radar, similar to yours, is if someone's telling a story or recounting something that happened, or in this case, the defendant speaking to the police about what happened, you always lead, he always said, with the most egregious thing, the worst thing that happened, the worst name that she called you, the worst action that they did to you. People tend to lead with that. And I fought him for a long time on that. I said, well, Dad, you're just bad at telling a story. You don't know how to set the scene, Yeah. You don't know how to, sometimes you need some background. And he said, no, but in instances which he was familiar with in the law, with police, with anyone of authority, with a judge, you always are rushing to get out the worst of the worst. So when you went down that avenue, when I saw where you were going, and it finally clicked for me, so I'll have to call him after this.
The apple
doesn't fall far from the tree.
Bailiff Cassandra Britt is standing in for Bailiff Kevin Roscoe, and Law Clerk Alexi Mincer is sitting in for Law Clerk Sarah Rose. Honesty Butler is suing her former friend, Walteria Flowers, for the cost of a car and stolen property.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Good morning, Judge. Case 3074, Butlers versus Flowers.
Thank you. Miss Butler, how long have you and Miss Flowers been friends?
We became friends around the summer of 2022.
How?
We both lived in South Carolina, and then we both moved to Jacksonville, so it's kind of like we were just friends.
Did you see each other often before you decided that you wanted to buy her car?
Yes, ma'am. She used to come and pick me up all the time. And then I used to see her around the town that we lived in before we moved back to Jacksonville.
You didn't have a car?
No, ma'am.
Did you have a driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever have a car?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to it?
I wrecked it.
You broke it?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you do that?
It was my fault. It was a failure to yield.
Oh, so there was a crash?
Yes, ma'am.
That was your fault?
Yes, ma'am.
On what day did you have a conversation with Miss Flowers about purchasing her car?
It was December 12th.
Of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car was it?
It's a 2010 Chevy Malibu.
When did you purchase it?
It was 2021, March 2021.
And why were you getting rid of it?
Because I had another car and I was getting another car too, so.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $8,000.
Lexi, would you look up a 2010 Chevy Malibu?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 2-door, 4-door, I don't even know how many doors.
4-door.
How many miles did it have on it when you purchased it?
It was 130.
Now, interesting, because a year later, you agreed to sell the defendant that same car for how much?
I agreed to sell it to her for $4,500, but I was selling it as is.
Just a second.
Okay.
Go back. We're going to get to as is in a second.
Okay.
That's not the final price you agreed on with her based upon these records.
No, ma'am.
What was the final price you agreed?
It was $4,000.
Is that right?
No, ma'am.
It was $3,500.
Yes, ma'am.
So the ultimate price that you agreed to sell the car for was $3,500.
No, ma'am. It was $4,000.
Show me. Show me 35.
Ma'am.
Private party, fair condition, between $6,000 to $7,800 for fair
6,000 to 78.
6,000 to 78.
Thank you. Okay, well, it was 4,000, but because of things wrong with the car, you said I'll take off $500 from the original price because there were more things wrong with the car than she originally thought. Is that what happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, it sounds to me, even at $4,000, you got a pretty good deal.
Yes, ma'am.
Because of what Lexi has told me about the current value of the car, which is the low end, $6,000, and at $3,500, even I would buy that car. It was a great value. This is what your case is about. It is your claim that you made all but $100 worth of the payments
Yes, ma'am.
on the car, and then the defendant, unbeknownst to you, came to your house at night and repossessed the car.
Yes, ma'am.
You say you only owed her $100.
Yes, ma'am.
Defendant says you owed her $7,000, but I think she's relying on the $4,000 figure. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's where the discrepancy is, and you took the car back.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Part of that had to do with, I gather, the two of you having an argument.
Yes, ma'am.
We fought.
Two of you having an argument. I'll get to that in a second. So you have a counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
You want the money back that you put into the car.
Well, not actually what I paid for the car, and also the belongings that was in the car.
Okay, let's get rid of the belongings. She did have some stuff in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have it with you?
Yes, ma'am. I have some of it with me, like her debit card and her purse that she had in there.
Okay, and what about the iPad?
She never had an iPad in there.
Okay.
I took a picture of everything.
Okay. Cassandra, would you go over there, please? Take all of that stuff and move it over to the other table. Those cards belong to her?
Oh, this one's my ID.
Okay. So now you want back what you paid for the car.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says you didn't finish paying for it. She had every right to repossess it. Let's take care of the car first.
Yes, ma'am.
How long did you drive the car?
From December of 2022 to May of 2023.
The beginning of December?
No, ma'am. Around the middle, like.
All right,
my
so
first payment was on the 12th.
Okay. When did you repossess the car?
I got it June 4th.
So let's make it January, February, March, April, May. So you had the car 5 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have the car now.
Yes, ma'am.
So she owed you really $100 when you took it back. Who paid the insurance on this car?
Everything was still in her name.
So she paid for the insurance. Is that right? Did you have insurance on the car or not?
No, ma'am.
No. Let me understand this. She's driving around with a car that's in your name that doesn't have insurance on it.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is the car now?
It's parked in my yard.
Where's the title to it?
I have it.
I'd like to see it. And you repossessed the car just a few months ago, is that right?
No, ma'am. June 4th. Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's a couple of months ago.
Oh, okay.
Great. Where's the back of this title?
I just sent it as evidence. I don't have the title with me, but that's the title. It's in my name.
Have her sign this. You're signing over the title to the car for her. Sign it over. I'll notify. Sign it over to her. We're going to give you the $100 that she owes you. Sign it over to her. You do understand, Miss Flowers, you came here to court today from where?
Jacksonville, Florida.
And you want to get home, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you got an appearance fee for coming here?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. All that's being withheld until you sign the title over to her. Do you understand?
Okay.
Great. Okay. So now you're going to have 5 days to get your car.
Your Honor.
And I'm awarding her on her counterclaim. You got your property back. I'm awarding her on her counterclaim. So far, $100, because that's what you owed her on the car. And it was done a few weeks ago. The car is there. Within 5 days, with a marshal, go and pick up your car. Do you understand? Okay. Within 5 days of today's date, she's coming to pick up the car with a marshal. Don't do anything to the car because you're not getting any cash until she has the car.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
Perfect.
We was at the park first, which I can pull up the video and show you we was at the park first. I did not hit her first. She walked up to me because in the video, you're going to hear my friend saying, friend, turn around, turn around. She hit me.
May I see your video
Yes,
where
ma'am.
she hit you first?
Honesty Butler claims her former friend, Walteria Flowers, owes for the cost of a car and stolen property. Walteria is countersuing for the balance of the car and an assault.
Now, let's get to your counterclaim. I've already given you the remainder owed on the car, which is $100. But now your counterclaim is about an assault. Tell me when this assault took place.
It took place on June 3rd.
And what date did you retrieve the car, just from my memory?
It was June 4th. Well, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so it was right after this fight.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So why don't you tell me what happened?
Me and her, after, we got into the little argument about the car, I blocked her on everything, and I just told her what she owed me. So she proceeds to threaten me, saying she would be at my house in my car, her and her cousin. So me and my...
Can I see what you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she tell this to you on the phone or in text?
In text, miss.
I'd like to see the text.
I have a voice recording of her saying it.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see that. Even better. Though I'm deaf, it's even better. Now, is this argument, by the way, while you're looking for it, this argument was about the balance due on the car?
Yes, ma'am. It was something before that, but then it led to the car. I guess it's the service in here. It's having trouble.
You don't have service?
If you don't have service on the phone so I can hear it, I'll look at the texts.
Okay. Right here. Okay, yeah, that's...
Thank you. Okay, so before I read these, I gather from the plaintiff there was an incident that preceded June the 3rd.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and tell me on what date that incident was.
Okay, June 3rd, we got into this.
Well, I know what happened on June 3rd, but that was about the car.
Oh, no, ma'am. It was earlier that day that we was talking about whatever happened.
Okay, well, why don't you tell me about that?
Okay, so it was something going around on social media about people being behind a fake page or whatever. So I was exposed on a fake page. She was exposed
on a fake
Snapchat or something. It was something like people saying bad stuff about people on the Snapchat. So
you understand that?
No.
Okay, so it was someone
I thought it was a younger thing, and I just didn't understand it. So that's
okay.
Explain it to him.
Okay, someone made Snapchat, right? Okay, someone made a Snapchat that nobody knows like who it belongs to. They posted pictures of me on there saying bad stuff about me. They posted something about her also, and about my baby's father and other people. So Honesty texts one of the girls that they thought it was behind it and told them that it was me. By me and her still being friends, I was lost. Like, why would you text someone that's not even friends with you saying that it was me? So she said, and I have it in the text message, in the evidence, she says that, and if I did say that, what? Y'all shouldn't be behind fake pages anyways. Y'all too grown for that. Keep me out of that. So I said, to solve all that, just pay me the money you owe me. To make it fair, just pay the money you owe me for the car, and I sign over the title, and we have nothing else to talk about. Then I blocked her. So then she gets on Instagram and texts me and made a voice message about, oh, I don't owe you such and such. I'll be at your house when I get off in your car or whatever to fight. So me and my friends was at this park called Lonnie C. And Honesty came out there and went live, was on Facebook Live, and I have the video, and was saying all kind of stuff on the live about me towards me. And that's when she came up to fight me, like at the park.
Your Honor, that is not true.
Yes.
Okay.
I have the evidence.
Did you?
Yes. Rumors were being spread, but
On the internet.
on the internet, no one knows the source of the rumors. And then there were some allegations that maybe it was the defendant who was the source of the rumors.
Right.
Says not true, escalated, and then started live streaming a fight.
Right. She gets.
Okay. You have the live stream?
Okay.
Okay. So we just hit the play.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Lie, you a lying. I got all the messages, and don't play with me about no $700, because bitch, I will be at your house when I get off work. Hold on, play with me. I don't owe you no $700, and you know I don't. You better find somebody to play with, bitch.
Works and plays well with others. Isn't that a check-off sign someplace? Okay, tell me what happened when you met with each other.
I was at the park already, me and my friends, the witness.
What were you doing at a park? How old are you?
I'm 21.
What do you do for a living?
I'm in nursing school.
How old are your children?
8 months and 2 years old.
Who do you live with?
It's me and my boyfriend. We got a house.
Boyfriend, the father of these two children?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were at the park with your friend with your children?
Oh, no, ma'am. It's just me, my friend, and my other friends. They always have stuff at the park, so.
Where were your children?
Well, one was in South Carolina, and the other one was with her grandmother.
Which one was in South Carolina?
My 2-year-old.
Who was in South Carolina?
I'm from South Carolina, so my family is there.
Who was the baby with?
Oh, her godmother.
Why?
Because we just sent her down there occasionally to be with her godparents.
Okay. So you were at the park. You went to the park.
No, ma'am, that is not true. I was with my friends and my cousin, and they had a graduation party. My friends was there. We went there after work. We was at the park first, which I can pull up the video and show you we was at the park first. They came to the park afterwards. I did not hit her first. She walked up to me because in the video, you're going to hear my friend saying, friend, turn around, turn around. She hit me, and I don't understand how it's assault because as they're breaking up the fight, none of the people I was with
May I
broke up the
see your
fight.
video
Yes,
where
ma'am.
she hit you first? I'd like to see that.
Okay.
That's terrible. I don't understand it when women fight. I can't understand when men fight either, but you sort of expect it of them. But I never understand how women can do physical contact with other women in anger. All right, let me see what she's got.
Honesty Butler has accused her former friend, Walteria Flowers, of taking her car without permission. Walteria is countersuing, claiming Honesty assaulted her after taking the car back.
She's going to show me a video, Miss Flowers.
Yes, ma'am.
And her video, according to her, let me just get this straight, is going to show you hitting her first.
No, ma'am, it's not.
It's not. I'm sorry. It's not going to show her hitting me first, but it's going to show me walking, and my friend is going to be saying, turn around, turn around. When I turned around and basically I dropped my phone, she hit me, and that's when we went to fight.
But that's not going to be on the video.
You're kind of going to see it a little bit.
All right, I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
A little bit is better than nothing, usually. You have also things that you want me to see on your phone?
Yes.
Would you get them up, please, so I...
Oh, it's up.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am, I can.
Thank you.
I have the fight right here. This sound is right there. I already turned it. The only thing you have to play is the play button.
Okay, while she's looking for us, I'm going to take a look at this.
And here you go.
Who's the one on the ground?
I'm on the bottom. She's on top of me.
It's terrible. I don't understand it when women fight. It's just so... I mean, I can't understand when men fight either, but you sort of expect it of them. But I never understand how women can do physical contact with other women in anger. Can't understand it, not in anger either. All right, let me see what she's got.
She better come right here and let this house leave me. Oh my God. Give me the phone. All right, bitch, be coming right here. What?
It looked to me like there were times in that video when she was on top and times when you were on top.
I never got on top. She kicked me in the face and all while I was down. I never got on top.
Just said, were you wearing the red pants?
Pajamas, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you were wearing the red pants, right. I'll take a look at your pictures. It seemed as if somebody else who was in that mob, and it was very hard to tell, was kicking somebody.
Your Honor, that was me. I kicked her. We were fighting, and her witness is she jumped in the fight and she actually hit me in the head.
Love a person who tells the truth all the time. Right. Thank you. No. Okay. Ladies shouldn't fight. You shouldn't be in the same place together if you're not getting along together. You don't go to the park together. But this was a fight. Looked to me from that video is that you were both willing participants in that altercation. So I'm dismissing your counterclaim, with the exception of the $100 that she owes you for the balance of the car. So in this case, the car is transferred permanently to the plaintiff with her payment of $100. Your counterclaim for assault is dismissed. You have 2 children. Do you have kids?
No, ma'am.
Okay, well, don't fight. It's not ladylike. All right, we're done. We're done. Court is adjourned.
It was not a bad car. It is now because I don't know what she did to it, but it's not a bad car. But I'm just glad she got it back out my hands.
I took good care of the vehicle. I got it fixed multiple times, spent almost $2,700 into getting the car fixed.
It's just messed up, like drivable and everything.
She told me that she reported it stolen since it was in her name, but she actually kept a spare key. And she came into my yard at like 3 a.m., I believe she said, and she just drove off with it while I was asleep.
I guess because she's immature, and some people just do immature things.
We're no longer friends.
I think what we saw in there was 2 women square up, get into a fight. Obviously, no one wants to see it, a terrible result, but you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and the court is not going to step in and figure out what happened here.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. People generally shouldn't fight. I always find it unnerving when I see women who are supposed to be triple process thinkers, all women, but especially somebody with 2 young kids. Take yourself out of harm's way. Don't put yourself in harm's way. But if you do, don't ask, you're right, don't ask, of course, for your help.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Kiara Broomfield White is suing her husband's co-worker, Aaron Coker, for the cost of a Labradoodle.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3041, Bloomfield White versus Coker.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. White, the thrust of your case is that you sold a dog to the defendant and he didn't pay for it.
Yes, ma'am.
Defendant has a couple of defenses, one of which was that the dog was sick.
Yes, ma'am.
He had lots of vet bills for the dog, and ultimately those vet bills far outweighed what he owed on the dog. And is it your wife?
No, ma'am.
Girlfriend, whoever
Friend,
lived?
yes.
Your girlfriend with whom you live?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They had enough of the dog, and he says he gave it away.
Well, before I did that, I asked them repeatedly, can they just come get the dog because we were put in the middle of a family triangle.
Let's start out with where you got the dog and what kind of dog it is.
Yeah, so I got the dog from my mom on August 21st.
Okay, that's what I read, August 21st of last year.
Yes.
How old was the dog when you got it from your mother?
She was 2 months old at the time.
Okay. Would you step up, please? Tell me your last name.
White.
Miss White, tell me when you bought this dog.
I believe it was June 28th, 29th.
And how much did you pay for the dog?
$800.
How long did you keep the dog? For just 2 months?
A little over a month, yes.
And then what happened to the dog?
I decided to sell the dog to my daughter at that time.
Why?
I was going through some medical issues, and I thought that I would be able to handle it, but I was completely wrong.
And you sold the dog to your daughter?
I did.
How much did you sell the dog for?
$900.
So you made a profit from your daughter?
No, ma'am. I also sold her a cage along with the dog that I paid $125 for.
So you sold her not only the dog, but the cage?
Yes.
For $900?
Yes.
And how much did your daughter pay you for the dog?
Nothing.
Zero, right? That's
Correct.
what I'm getting from here. And then, Miss White, you decided that you couldn't care for the dog.
Yes, ma'am.
What month?
It was October. I found out that I had conceived, and the dog was not potty trained. The smell of it was just making me really sick, so I decided to go ahead and sell the dog myself. I posted a post on Facebook on October 17th.
You had the dog August, September, and October.
Correct.
When did you take the dog to the vet?
I did not.
The answer is you did not.
Never.
When did you take the dog to the vet?
Never.
When did you take the dog to the vet?
I never took the dog to the vet.
So now we have a dog that you acquired in June that had to be at least 6 weeks old, so it had to be born sometime late April or May.
It was born May 31st, 2022.
So you took the dog when it was 4 weeks old, a little early to take a puppy. Okay. And when you took the dog, did you get paperwork that told you what kind of shots the dog had had?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
I'd like to take a look at the paper. I see the dog was dewormed on 2 occasions, but I don't see any shots.
Okay, so this is what she wrote down here. So this
I don't care what she wrote down there. You have a dog. The dog is a puppy. It needs shots. It needs shots before it can go around other dogs. You mean you had no clue as to this, and neither did you, Miss White? That the dog needed shots?
No, actually, when me and him made the agreement for him to come and purchase the dog, we had a phone call.
I don't care about a phone call. I'm talking about... You don't understand what I'm saying to you, madam. What I'm saying to you, your mother had a dog that was born sometime in May. She had the dog June, July. Between the two of you, August, right? You know that a dog, like a baby, has to get injections, shots for rabies, for distemper. Shots to make it healthy so that it's around other dogs, it won't get sick. Neither you nor your mother took the dog to get put it down unless you have shots to show me. I'm not interested in anything other than your neglect of this dog for 6 months. That's all I'm interested in. Right now, that's what I'm interested in. Your neglect of this puppy for 6 months.
The dog was due for shots in September, when her insurance became active.
Let me explain something to you. The dog wasn't due when her insurance became active. The dog was due when it's a puppy. It gets puppy shots. The fact that you didn't want to give the dog shots until it got insurance is not the dog's problem. Exactly. That's your problem. The puppy needed puppy shots. Within 6 months, you had the dog for 6 months between the two of you and didn't take care of it. And I don't understand that. What?
So I definitely do apologize. It was my first time having a puppy, and I didn't know that it needed a shot.
You note in the chart that the dog was dewormed. That's all that you gave me.
I didn't know what type of shots the dog needed, and
then you
that's
look
my ignorance.
Just a second. Then you look on the internet. You ask the breeder from whom you bought it. You ask people. You find out. You don't do nothing. It's a live animal. You're supposed to take care of it.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you agree. Because his defense is that when he got the dog got sick. Miss White, let me understand your complaint. You charged him $1,600 for a dog you didn't pay for, that you still owed the full price on. Am I reading this wrong?
No, you're not.
Don't help me. I don't need your help.
Yes, ma'am.
I need her help.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor. My agreement was that I was supposed to pay my mom the money out of the sale of the dog.
Just a
She
second.
was going
You
to
had
get-
the dog August, September, and October. You paid your mother nothing.
I got the dog August 21st. My mother and I made the agreement that I would not immediately pay her for the dog as we had just both moved to the area and I didn't have it. So she knew that I did not have
I
the
don't
money
care what
to
she
pay for
knew.
the dog.
You didn't buy the dog from your mother to resell it, I assume.
No, originally I was going to keep the dog, but I decided not to keep the dog. But either way, our agreement was still for me to pay her.
I don't care. You sold him the dog for $1,600 and you didn't pay for it. Did you give the dog to him?
Yes.
No payment.
None at all.
Why?
Well, because...
Not well. Well is not
okay,
an answer.
I'm sorry.
Well is not an answer. You understand
Yes, ma'am.
that I have problems with your veracity
Yes, ma'am.
already.
Okay.
Kiara Broomfield White claims her husband's co-worker, Aaron Coker, owes for the cost of a Labradoodle. Aaron says Kiara sold him a sick dog.
Okay. In addition to not paying for it, which, you know, that's between you and your mother, has something to do with the legality of your lawsuit because you can't sell something that you don't own, and you don't own it until you pay for it, right? My real problem with the two of you is you don't appear to be people without any common sense or brains. How do you not know that a puppy needs puppy shots before it can be involved with other dogs, walk around, be near other dogs, that it needs shots just like a baby does?
Your Honor, I was aware of the fact that the dog was supposed to go for shots in September.
No, it wasn't supposed to go in September,
I got
madam.
the dog August 21st from my mom. My mom told me the following month that the dog was going to need shots, and that was only like a week or so from the August when I got the dog.
So where did you get this idea that this puppy that you had didn't need shots before September? Your daughter a moment ago said September was the date because that's when your insurance kicked in.
September 1st, yes. I got the idea from Tina, the person that I actually purchased the dog from. She told me that the dog would be due for his first shots the last week of August. But the problem is that he told us the dog had rabies. And I researched that.
That it had
and
rabies
there is
in
no...
worms.
Sure.
Who told you the dog had rabies? Oh, I'm not talking about him.
That's why he didn't want to pay, because he said the dog had rabies.
Let me explain something to you. I don't know whether the dog had rabies or not. I know that you and your daughter were negligent. And your daughter has no claim because she didn't pay for the animal. You did. You're not the plaintiff. You paid $800. You sold it to your daughter for $900, and you sold it to him without shots for $1,600, of which he paid you $5.
No, ma'am. We had an agreement to pay the $5, but I wasn't giving up nothing.
Just a second. So you paid nothing?
Nothing. No, ma'am. The first payment wasn't due until I got paperwork and everything on the dog.
Okay. So you got the dog in October, October
Yes, ma'am.
17th.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see the vet bills after October 17th.
I have that, and I got her rabies shot
I'd just like to see
certificate and things like that.
This doesn't show me anything.
Yes, ma'am.
This shows me a surgery consult. I don't know.
No, he wanted to do surgery, and
Just a second.
yes, ma'am.
This isn't a vet bill. I've been doing this for 28 years. So if you're not going to be able to show me what I want, don't waste my time with the zh on the machine.
Okay.
If you don't have it, you don't have it.
I don't have it on me right
Then just say I don't have it.
No, ma'am, I don't.
Why don't you have the vet bill? We're not talking about forever ago, sir. All you have to do is say to the vet, I'm going to court. I need a copy of my bill.
That's my...
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I had it.
Now I want you to tell me, because I'm not crazy about either one of you.
Uh-oh.
You, because you were both negligent with regard to this puppy. You had no right to get a puppy if the two of you weren't emotionally or financially able to take care of it. You should certainly understand that when you get a puppy, when you buy a puppy, did you pay for it, by the way?
I did.
Okay. And if you paid $800 for a puppy, you ask certain questions. I've had dogs in my life for 70 years. Every time I purchase a dog, the person from whom I purchase it gives me a piece of paper that says when the dog was born, who the parents were, when it got its first shot, when it's got its second shot, when it's due for its third shot. That's what you get. And it's hard for me to comprehend that neither one of you really either understood it or just figured, well, I had the dog for 6 weeks that I'm going to sell it to my daughter. I don't know, she'll want it, she doesn't want it. She's going to sell it to somebody else for twice as much as I paid for it. Because she sold it to him, allegedly, for twice as much as you paid for it. Sick. Sick. Where's the dog now?
Well, I repeatedly asked them to come get the... I gave the dog to a friend of mine.
Did you give the dog to him?
Yes.
No payment?
None at all.
Why?
Well, because...
Not well. Well is not an answer.
I'm sorry.
Well is not an answer. You understand
Yes, ma'am.
that I have problems with your veracity
Yes,
already.
ma'am. Okay. So I just gave the dog away after I repeatedly asked them if they want the dog back.
Just a second.
3 dogs are in the house with us, which is what they call Katana, which we call Lucky. And then I have a little small Chihuahua, a miniature Chihuahua, named Kimura. And then we have another dog that is called, what is her name? China. Yes, so we have 3 dogs in the house. But I had 3. Now it's 2.
When did you give the dog away?
It had to have been like December sometime.
Your Honor.
What?
The only reason I wasn't just trying to double charge him for the dog, I was trying to get the money back that I had put into the dog. My mom put that amount.
Just a second. What did you put into the dog?
I had to pay a lease agreement to have the dog.
Who cares? What is that?
I paid $500.
Who cares?
Well, when I was selling the dog, I was looking to get my compensation back, and that's what we agreed upon.
That has nothing to do with him or the dog.
We agreed upon that price for the dog.
He's not paying you anything.
Okay.
He's not paying you anything. He gave the dog away. Would you tell me the dog got a rabies shot on October 31st?
Yes, ma'am.
What'd she need an x-ray for?
Well, see, because she was throwing up and we were trying to figure out what was going on with the dog. She was sick. So we had to take her to an emergency clinic, which that I explained that to them.
Just a second. What emergency clinic?
It's called hospital.
You look it up, get a number. I'm going to ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
If Sarah called this vet hospital.
Yes, ma'am.
And you gave them authorization, the dog's name that you gave the dog was what?
Lucky.
Lucky.
Lucky. Yes, ma'am.
Gave the vet hospital your name, the dog's name Lucky.
Yes, ma'am.
How much would they tell me that your vet bill was for Lucky?
It was $1,022 and some change.
Do me a favor. Call them. I want you to find out, Sarah, how much he paid and what was done to the dog. When you had the dog, Miss White, and you said the dog was making all over your house and you had to get rid of it because you couldn't stand the smell, didn't you think that the dog was sick?
No, she wasn't potty trained. She was still a puppy. The smell of it was a lot for me being pregnant. It would cause me to be sick and nauseous all the time. He called me and he was like, why do you want to get rid of the dog? What's wrong with the dog? I said, well, nothing's wrong with her. She's just really active. I'm pregnant. Everything was fine. I told him then I didn't take her for her shot that she needed in September. He was fine with that. We agreed on the price.
No, just a second. Just stop there. You didn't take her for her shots.
Yeah, in September, like my mom had told me I needed to. I did make him aware of that before he even came up there.
You do understand that if I find that he, in fact, spent over $800, which is what your mother paid for the dog, over $800 in vet bills for this dog, you get nothing. Do you understand?
Okay.
Because you sold him a sick dog. First of all, you didn't pay any money for the dog.
I paid to have the dog in my home.
Who cares what you paid your landlord? I don't care what you paid. No court cares what you paid your landlord in order to have a dog. Nobody cares.
Kiara Broomfield White is accusing her husband's co-worker, Aaron Coker, of refusing to pay for the Labradoodle he purchased. Aaron claims he had to pay for vet bills because the dog was already sick.
You do understand that if I find that he, in fact, spent over $800 in vet bills for this dog, you get nothing.
Okay, but Your Honor.
Her husband agreed that the dog maybe got sick because the dog was eating out of the cat bowl, drinking the cat water from a stray cat. That would make a dog sick right there.
Absolutely.
So after the husband told me that, I already know what it was.
Okay, Your Honor, as far as the shots, I understand that the dog was supposed to go and get its shots. And I did know that, and that's why I let him know that there was shots that I did not give the dog.
Doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter.
Well, I just want you to know that I made him aware of it, and he was fine with the fact that the dog needed shots and paying for the shots that the dog needed.
Paying for shots doesn't cost $1,000. It doesn't cost $1,400. It only costs that kind of money if the dog is sick.
And she was sick. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, that's not what they informed us. I have 3 different messages, different things
all
that
I'm
they
telling
told
you
us.
is I'm going to see if I can get a response on the phone, if I can. If he paid anywhere near $800 to the vet to take care of a sick puppy, end of story.
Hi, this is Sarah Rose, and I'm a law clerk for Judge Judy Sheindlin with the show Judy Justice. We have a case in front of us right now regarding Aaron Coker and his dog Lucky, who came in, and I just needed a write-up of what he paid as well as what the dog received. Okay, so you have no record of him then? I do not. Okay, no problem. Thank you very much for your help.
The fact that you never had a dog before, that you didn't know, that you were pregnant, that you were nauseous, all is meaningless to the dog that was neglected. Meaningless. Now you can sit down.
Your Honor, I have a question.
I don't answer questions.
Okay, well...
I ask questions. Yes?
They had no record of Aaron Coker or Lucky.
This was less than a year ago. You can get a vet bill.
Yes, ma'am.
You knew you were coming to court.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Miss White, first of all, you had an animal that you hadn't paid for, so you had no right to sell it. I actually find that your conduct and your mother's, although not intentionally negligent with regard to this dog, was in fact negligent, and you sold him a dog that he got rid of after he took it to the vet, because I believe he probably took it to the vet because she was sick. Did you have a cat?
Yeah, there was a stray cat outside, and they would sleep next to each other outside in the backyard. The cat and the dog, like, they would just be out there taking a nap together when I went outside.
You do understand that puppies can get sick from other animals. Yes. Cats or dogs, they don't discriminate whether it's a cat or a dog that has an intestinal bug, and you have a cat outside that you feed outside.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm not denying that the dog needed its shots. I know that it's needed its shots, and I know that it could have contracted worms because worms is something it can get. I learned that after the fact.
Or other things.
The dog was completely healthy when I gave him the dog. He even sent me a picture of the dog playing with his other dog when he received the dog.
Maybe. And maybe the dog got sick hanging around with his other dogs. That's possible.
Changed the story 3 different times. And I have all the messages of them changing their story every time for what was actually wrong, for why they wouldn't pay me the money for the dog.
First of all, you didn't pay any money for the dog.
I paid to have the dog in my home.
Who cares what you paid your landlord? I don't care what you paid. No court cares what you paid your landlord in order to have a dog. Nobody cares. You didn't pay for the dog. There is a certain amount of fairness that if your mother is owed money for this dog, and even though she was neglectful of this animal, he really had no right to turn around and give it away to somebody else. And I'm not so sure that after he got a 6-month-old dog well again with all the shots, that there was no money exchanged with regard to the dog. I'm not so sure, sir.
Well, I didn't charge anybody. I asked them numerous of times. They wouldn't come and get the dog. It was just getting out of hand.
Well, it was getting out of hand because, sir, you hadn't paid them any money. Wouldn't be supposed to make your first payment.
Like November 10th or 11th.
Okay. And you had the dog until December.
Yes, ma'am.
Why didn't you make your first payment?
Because the dog was sick, and I've been asking them to come get the dog.
First of all, you can't tell them to come and get the dog because you bought it. You bought it without a contract that said it had a health guarantee, a health warranty, whatever. That doesn't mean she's getting a penny because she didn't pay for the dog.
Okay.
You had an arrangement with her to pay her in November. You didn't do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, stand up a second. Did your daughter agree to pay you back after she got paid from him?
She did.
You see, my problem is I could dismiss your case and then your mother would have to come back because she's the actual owner of the dog because you didn't pay for the dog. And there is no way that you're getting twice as much as what you paid for the dog. But I don't think, Mr. Coker, that you're being honest. You certainly didn't bring me the proof. You certainly didn't bring me evidence that was either in your possession or capable of being in your possession. And I don't think that these people in Beaufort who spoke to her were lying to her when they said they don't have you in their system with a dog whose name is Lucky. Then you have to pay something for this dog that you just gave away, because I'm not so sure that you just gave it away. The only sadness for me in this entire case is that this poor puppy had, by the time it was 6 months old, 4 different owners, all of whom were neglectful. You, you, and I don't know about the person that you ultimately gave the dog to. I don't know whether that person is going to be using or abusing her because, according to you, he got her for free. And even those shelters that really have rescue animals, they charge something because they want people to have a certain financial investment in taking care of a pet before they give you a pet. So that you gave what was an expensive dog to this person for free is something that I don't buy, like I don't buy the vet bill. You get $100 for the dog. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $100. That's it. Next time, take better care of animals.
This court is adjourned.
I mean, it was a fair judgment. I wish I had brought the right document with me, and I didn't, so.
He lied about having the bills, and he gets to get away with not paying it.
It was a family feud between the mother and the daughter, and now the mother is standing with the daughter now, so.
She was completely healthy, and he knows that.
She was sick, she was small.
He just didn't want to pay that much for a dog.
I'm happy she found a great home.
That was one of the few cases in my career where I really had a tough time making a judgment.
Yeah.
Sarah.
And I don't necessarily disagree with your judgment in the end. I know it was meant to be sort of a wrist slap to the defendant, of course, for being, you know, a little untruthful in multiple parts of his story. But technically, the plaintiff was not the right plaintiff.
You know, you really can't, at the last minute, just substitute one plaintiff for another. They were just foolish and neglectful of this puppy and got it for all the wrong reasons. His story about this $1,400 vet bill was untruthful. And I knew it was untruthful because if you print up that piece of paper, the
vet logo would be right all over that.
The logo was on top, and it doesn't say range of treatment, proposed bill.
It looks that way when a defendant prepares their own statement
and makes a
sake.
copy of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Previously on Judy Justice.
What happened next?
After he turned around and he
started to tussle with you, which is what you said.
And then afterwards we fell over the couch. And at this point, he had his forearm on my neck, so I can't breathe.
No.
I told him, Devon, you're hurting me, you're choking me, I cannot breathe. Please get off of me, get off of me.
He's standing there and you're pushing him.
Yes, pushing him off of me. And then that's when he did a close fist and hit me right here on the side of my face. So I passed out. And then after I had gotten up, he stood up and said, you want to fight me? Fight me.
That's not true.
Now you're fighting.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I told him to stop as soon as I saw blood was everywhere, literally on the wall and the floor. And he stopped.
Well, let me ask you this question. From all this fighting and tussling, was Mr. Clarence visibly hurt anywhere?
No.
So far, correct?
No, ma'am. I had scratches on my neck, and she did not put her hands up to fight me. She actually threw a car battery at my hands.
I had to find another device to try to at least get a recording. I had to verify this because I feel like nobody's gonna believe me even if I make this up. So I had to record it off my son's tablet. I have a video of the injuries of the night that it happened.
Well, you have hospital records because you say that you went to the hospital the next day. I want to see the hospital records.
And now, the conclusion. Devon Clarence is suing his ex-fiancée, Safari Williams, for a false arrest and an assault. Safari is countersuing Devon, claiming he assaulted her.
Okay, so you weren't admitted to the hospital. You were just seen by somebody the next day. What time the next day?
It was around 11, 10 o'clock. My mother had taken me to the hospital.
How did you get in touch with your mother?
After I left the house.
Well, how did you leave the house? Right now, he's locked out. You locked the door. And you're looking for something to record him. And you found something to record him.
Which was my son's tablet.
And
that's when I went into the living room. I brought my kids to the living room with me, and I had to wait it out because I didn't want to go out there like he was just going crazy, like monstrosity. But I was afraid to go out there. So that's when I had locked myself in, waited until the morning. He cannot go 24 hours without going to sleep. So I said, I'm going to take my advantage, wait till he goes to sleep. And he went to sleep in his car. And I got my keys, and I grabbed my two kids, barefooted and all, no clothes. And he had set the alarm.
Just a second. So you grabbed your kids and took them out to your truck.
Yes.
And drove where?
I drove to my auntie's house.
At what time? This is on the 21st?
Yes, the 21st. It was around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
And you drove to your aunt's house, and what did you do?
I went into my auntie's, and she called my mom. When she called my mom, that's when my mom had came over to her house and saw the injuries. And she said, we need to go to the hospital because we don't know how bad or how severe your injuries are. So that's when I was like, okay, I can go to the hospital. And she drove me there. I couldn't make a police report or assault report with the hospital because they were going.
No. You can't tell me what happened at the hospital that you couldn't.
Right.
You went to the hospital.
And then
weren't admitted. You were seen by a doctor.
I was
Go
seen
ahead.
by the doctor. I wasn't, in fact, admitted.
If you were admitted to a hospital, I want to see those medical records.
Okay.
This isn't a medical record. This is a one-pager on a visit that you had where you complained about an assault, and the doctor did notice some abrasions on your face.
Okay.
Doesn't say you were admitted anywhere.
I'm sorry, I don't have that one on me.
Okay. So now let's move on. So you drove your kids about 10 miles to your aunt's house. You stayed at your aunt's house for a while. Your aunt called your mother. Your mother came and said, I think we should go to the hospital and check out your injuries. And
that's what
I want to know how the police got involved.
So the hospital called the police.
So you're saying it wasn't you, the hospital called the police, so the police came to the hospital?
The police came, but they wasn't able to. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was one of a county issue with the
You want to tell me?
Yes, she'll be able to tell you better.
So, Judge, when we went to the hospital, so the hospital is between Harris County Sheriff Department and HPD. So when we...
Well, he was arrested somewhere. So he was arrested somewhere. On what date were you arrested?
I was arrested on February 24th, so 4 days after this incident.
Okay. I assume you asked your daughter what happened when you, either driving to the hospital or when you got to your sister's house.
Yes.
At the time you asked her what happened, did she tell you that they had been in a fight?
Well, I could see they had been in a fight.
Well,
but...
no, there's a difference between a fight, which is mutual combat.
Right.
And an assault, which suggests that there was only one victim and one perpetrator.
Yes.
So what I want to know is whether your daughter discussed with you the facts that she's just relayed to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a question, not a ha-ha.
Right.
Did she tell you that they were fighting?
Yes, she did.
Did she tell you that she at any point put her hands on him?
No, and she didn't because her mouth was so bad. She
Just
really
a second.
couldn't explain.
She did. She just told me.
Yes, but she didn't explain it to me that way.
I know, but she just explained it to me that way. I'm not putting a judicial imprimatur on anybody's assaultive conduct.
Right.
But you have to understand that in a fight, somebody ends up at the bottom of the barrel and somebody at the top of the barrel.
I agree.
Okay, now I'm going to see a video.
No, it's hitting me. I have no phone. He took my phone. He took everything, and I'm helpless. So I'm trying to get out of here.
I want you to tell me what precipitated that, because that's a nasty hit in the mouth.
Devon Clarence has accused his ex-fiancée, Safari Williams, of reporting a false arrest after she assaulted him. Safari claims Devon assaulted and defamed her.
You did hear your daughter testify that at some point he got up and she went to throw a punch at him and missed.
Right.
And then he punched her and he continued to punch her. You did hear that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, now I'm going to see a video.
Just press play.
Devon is hitting me. I have no phone. He took my phone. He took everything, and I'm helpless. So I'm trying to get out of here, but I need proof. This is proof. He's hitting on me. I have blood everywhere. I have blood everywhere. Oh my God. I'm scared. I'm scared. He is crazy. He is really, really crazy.
Okay. Would it be a fair statement, Mr. Clarence, that you did in fact punch her in the mouth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I want you to tell me, because I see she's injured, her mouth is injured. I want you to tell me in your own voice what precipitated that, because that's a nasty hit in the mouth.
So when we flipped over the couch, I stood up, and she says that she pushed me off, but she actually reached her hands up and grabbed me by the testicles. And that's when I punched her. Right after punching her, she let go. I ran to the door. When I ran to the door, she followed behind me with a car battery. She picked it up and she tossed it in my direction, which caused for me to have an injury to my hand.
You have photographs of that?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
That's not true. There's the battery.
This was taken a couple days afterwards when the
By
swelling
whom?
went down.
By whom?
By me.
Is that the only injury that you sustained?
No, ma'am. I also from when she was choking me with my work lanyard. I also have pictures of my neck that was taken that next morning.
I'd like to see it.
Untrue.
Don't speak. Don't speak. You're talking about this cut?
Yes, ma'am.
And where was that?
That's on my neck. No, it's right here, across the front.
Oh, I see. Okay. Go ahead.
So when we were tussling, so she threw the car battery at my hand. I looked down at my hand. I look at the broken doorknob. And when I'm looking at the broken doorknob, I look back up.
Which doorknob is?
The front door. Well, from when I grabbed the door, and when she tossed it, it hit my hand and slammed the doorknob down.
Okay.
So I look down at my hand and I see nothing but white inside of my hand. My hand was bleeding. Well, it was about to start bleeding, but I saw the white, I saw the bone, I saw everything. So I looked up and I was like, what did you do? Are you crazy? And at that point, she says, I don't care anymore. She grabs me by my shirt and she pulls me into the house and starts punching me. Oh. At that point, when she starts punching me, I was like, you know what, that's it. And I started going back at with her.
No.
After punches were exchanged, I left.
Judge, those are the punches on the video that he did.
Just a second. I saw that she had an injury. He acknowledges that he hit her in the mouth.
So what I want to also add to that, because I saw him that same morning. I talked to him. He claimed at 7 o'clock in the morning he was on his way to a funeral. I told him, I said, well, look, I just spoke with my sister. I'm going by and get the kids some stuff. Don't come to the apartment. He shows up. Nothing wrong. I didn't see a scratch anywhere. And I asked him, why are you here? Well, I'll just come let you know that I filed a police report. Why are you here?
Shh, just a second. So he filed a police report. Can I see a copy of that police report? Do you have it?
I do not have a copy of the police report.
So after he told you that he filed a police report, you went back to your sister's house. I assume you got...
No, I hadn't went to my sister's house. So my sister called me.
To go get things... Just a second, Rick. Your sister called you and told you that your daughter was there with your grandchildren.
Right.
Could you go and pick up things for them?
Right.
So you drove over to the apartment where they had lived together.
Right.
He came.
Right.
Said, I've just filed a police report against your daughter.
Right.
Then you went to your sister's house and you decided to go to the emergency room of the hospital.
Yes.
And then you filed a police report, or your daughter did.
We didn't file it at the hospital.
No, I didn't say at the hospital. Subsequently, you filed a police report.
Correct.
Do you have a copy of that police report?
I have my affidavit.
No, I don't want an affidavit. I want
we should have
a copy of the police report.
Let me see.
That's it.
Okay, Kevin.
Alongside with my injuries that...
I saw your injury. Well, this police report, the charge is assault of a family member impeding breathing.
Yes.
And the affidavit reads, defendant, on or about February 20th, did then and there unlawfully, intentionally, and knowingly cause bodily injury to Safari Williams, the complainant, with whom the defendant had a dating relationship, by impeding the normal breathing and circulation of blood by applying pressure to the complainant's throat. Okay.
So right here, I have a copy of the motion to dismiss, which shows that they dropped the impeding breath, showing that I did not choke her.
That we know. The case was dismissed. Do you have a copy of the visitation order? You don't have joint custody because you indicated you had joint custody.
We have joint custody now.
When were you granted joint custody?
August 1st.
Was that after the mediation?
After the mediation, yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Williams, did you consent to the joint custody? Or did the mediator, after the trial, recommend joint custody?
Yes, I did consent to it.
You did? And that was the mediator's recommendation?
Correct.
Okay. The only thing I have to ask you, Mr. Clarence, is for what period of time from the 20th of February, was it until August or October that you didn't see the children?
So actually, it wasn't actually until that June. Orders were signed October. She failed to sign the children up for the domestic relation office for the supervised visitation. She failed to sign them up for another 6 months.
Not true.
So it was an additional 6 months?
An additional 6 months.
Okay.
Judge, during that time where he was saying that he was trying to see the kids, he wasn't paying child support.
I don't care whether he was or whether he wasn't. I wouldn't pay child support if I had an order that said I couldn't see my children. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But it wasn't one of those keep the children type things away. It definitely wasn't. And when
Miss Williams, Miss Williams, I'm done with this case. I got it. This is not a I say, you say. This is
because I went into the apartment and he had tape. He had electrical tape on the door. He kept my door there all night.
I want you to not speak. I want you to listen.
He wasn't.
There, I'm. Just a second. Sit. Now you don't get it.
Devon Clarence claims his ex-fiancee, Safari Williams, owes for a false arrest, abuse, and emotional distress. Safari is countersuing for assault and defamation.
While he has many causes of action in his complaint, the only one that I find actually viable, because they did, in fact, both of them engage in domestic violence against each other on February 20th. Don't. This is not a I say, you say. This is
because I went into the apartment and he had tape. He had electrical tape on the door. He kept my door there all night.
I want you to not speak. I want you to listen.
Okay.
I'm finished with the fact finding in this case. Your daughter and Mr. Clarence had a domestic incident on February 20th. It is clear to me that your daughter got the worst of the physical bargain, but she was, in fact, the aggressor. She did, in fact, put her hands on him first. I'm not asking you a question. I'm telling you, based upon what she told me, she put her hands on him first, twice. They had a fight. It was unpleasant, and she ended up certainly more injured than he did. It was nasty.
Yes, it was.
There is not a scintilla of evidence that Mr. Clarence should have been denied seeing his children as a result of a restraining order for over a year.
He wasn't.
Just a second. Sit. Now you don't get it. Okay. Now you don't get it. I'm not listening to you. Now I'm ruling. There is not a scintilla of evidence that Mr. Clarence, who lived with these children for 4.5 years, who took care of them regularly alone, should have been denied seeing his children for over a year. And that's what happened because she asked for a restraining order that included the children. That's what happened. And that's outrageous because two adults who have children can fight with each other and they can be angry with each other and they can be vicious with each other, which they were, but they created two children. And the proof of the pudding is in the tasting because after it was all said and done, Mr. Clarence has joint custody of the children. So for a person that went from not being able to see his children then to supervise visits, because that's what he asked for, and that took an additional 6 months, that is an outrageous outcome. Outrageous. Because I know that you would think it was outrageous if Mr. Clarence prevented your daughter from seeing the children for 2 days, for 1 day. I would think it was outrageous. And in this country, mothers and fathers have the same rights to children. not her children or his children. They are their children. And if she feels threatened by him and had a protective order, that's okay. But then you are cooperative with regard to seeing the children, either in a supervised manner or some other manner. But asking for a restraining order that includes the children when there was never any indication that Mr. Clarence was an irresponsible parent is outrageous. I find that on the cross-complaint for assault, I find that Miss Williams was, in fact, seriously injured in her mouth as a result of this altercation. I also find that she was the provocateur because she put her hands on him first. So I'm dismissing your cross-complaint, and I'm granting your complaint, Mr. Clarence, with regard to the children and the protective order which precluded you from seeing your children for that length of time. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. On that issue alone, the remainder of your complaint is dismissed. Your counterclaim is dismissed for the reasons that I've stated. We're finished here. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
This court is adjourned.
I don't believe that I was ever the aggressor. He was always the person to gaslight me, especially when he brought the kids or he always taking the kids.
I've never gaslit her. I've always told her exactly what things are, told her the truth on matters. And a lot of people just can't handle the truth on things. So if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen, man.
He saw that I didn't care anymore. He saw that I just dried up and just said, you know what, it's done. So if you want to leave, leave, please.
No, that day I had a cool head. I tried to my best to get out that situation. Made many attempts, a beeline for the door, and she just wouldn't let me leave.
I just want to be a mom. Just like he want to be a dad so bad, let me be a mom. But I could never get that from him, so.
I try to keep things cordial so the way my children can grow up in a favorable household.
What's your takeaway?
I think a big thing that I'm sure happens, you've seen it far more frequently than I have, but I'm sure it happens a lot, is mothers or fathers, but mostly mothers, who get into domestic violence situations or even assaults, even though here we decided that it was more of a mutual combat situation, but even so, they feel that they need a restraining order to protect themselves from their partner. And that's fair. You know, you feel threatened, your life, your safety, but that does not automatically transfer to children, like you said, that you share together. Because as we saw here, with very little, you know, we found out in the first 5 minutes of questioning that this was more of a mutual combat than a one-sided assault.
She just got the worst bargain.
Of course, but still not enough to keep a man from his children for over a year.
You know, it's sort of interesting. It's easier and safer for judges, for family court judges or criminal court judges, to sign off on these sweeping protective orders that cover place of work, your home, the children's school, the children. It just is easier to check all the boxes and say, we'll take care of it at trial. Well, that might be okay if everybody gets a trial in a week. In this case, it took 3 years for it to be resolved. So,
for something he probably should have had from the beginning, joint custody, you know, given that they both cared for the children together.
And certainly not deprived of any contact whatsoever for well over a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.